Welcome back to another Theme Park Conductor episode. This is Conductor Thursday Live. I am joined by three amazing guests. We got George, the Disney Italiano. We got Mr. Webba, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We got Orange Grove 55 in the house. How are you guys all doing tonight? We're going to start with George here.
Doing really good. Glad to be on here discussing all these hot topics with you fellas. And Conductor, I have to say, every time I hear your music intro, I have that urge to like lather my body in like Johnson & Johnson baby oil. So like,
oh man, just don't do it at P Diddy's house, George. That's all we're saying. Just don't do it at Diddy's house.
Yeah, George is coming up. He's like, man.
Special there.
Yeah, special access, exactly. Oh man, see, Conductor, you have us on. We're not even 2 minutes in, bro. Already.
No. Sorry, I'm sure. Mr. Webba, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Theme Park Conductor, I am fantastic, man. Thank you so much for having me on and for having the Orange Grove 55 crew on, man.
Absolutely. Orange Grove 55, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Conductor. I want to thank you for having us on, talking shop, talking Universal, talking Disney. It's good to be here. We got a whole West Coast content creator crew right here today.
Woke up looking for the broccoli.
There we go. I want to thank you all for being you.
So I want to ask you guys, because you guys, all three of you, have been extremely busy. I just want to tell my viewers real quick, you guys did a live stream last night. I just want to dive into this real quick.
Sure.
You guys did a live stream last night, and OG, George, Mr. Webba, I'm going to let you guys take the floor. Do you guys kind of want to explain how you're expanding the channel a little bit?
Yeah, basically, two things, right? So Mr. Webba, who has been a OG55 mainstay for how long? You've been with us for a couple of years now, right, Ebba? Like you've been with the channel for a while now. He started. There's two new shows. One is called Web Shots, which is a like short form content under 15 minutes. And the first public episode to non-members is out now about the Haunted Mansion stretching room and all that good stuff. Fantastic conversation. So there's Web Shots, more short form. And then we have Webbavision. And Webbavision is like long form stuff. So we'll get into all kinds of various topics. We have a few shows already like queued up, ready to go that we're going to be recording very soon for that. But I'll let Webba kind of take over details for those two shows. And then we'll go to Mr. Italiano as to what's going on with him. So Webba, take it away.
All right. Yeah. So as OG said, he explained it perfectly. When I came to OG about Webbavision in particular, I was thinking about, doing a host of a show, but with Mr. Webba, right? And on OG55, because I love to contribute to the channel. It's awesome. I love these guys. And I was like, well, instead of television, why not we make it Webbavision? So that was my idea in my head. So we have two shows that we're going to be coming up. OG, should we say what the topics would be on those?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So the topic we're going to have is the first one is going to be about the layoffs that have happened in the entertainment division, in particular at Legoland, California and Florida. That's going to be very interesting to talk about because, we see cuts across the board all the time in this theme park space. So it's going to be really interesting. And then the second one, whole OG55 group panel, man. This is going to be about the fandom of like the hardcore diehards like us versus the normies and how the expectations don't match up to the reality of things. In particular, we're going to be talking about Mufasa and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So that's going to be a very fantastic discussion. I can't wait for it. And again, I like to thank OG55 for the big support on this. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And Ebba Webba has been doing a phenomenal job with that content already. He's been also even behind the scenes with the editing and all that stuff. So Webba, A+, brother, A+.
Cheers.
We're excited. We're excited to have the new shows premiere. Going forward. So look forward to those, everybody. George is starting a big situation as well. George, if you want to let everybody at home know where they could what's coming up on the horizon for the Italiano over at OG55.
Absolutely. So for the longest time, I've been kind of going back and forth with the thought of starting an in-park vlog channel, primarily for Disney, but still covering like Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, other events going on in the entertainment industry, things like that. Kind of kicking the can, kind of going around some things. I used to have my own YouTube channel called Disney Family Man 23. For which kind of had the same kind of style as the channel Orange Grove 55 has. So at that time, before I officially joined OG55, it was kind of repetitive. It was like kind of doing the same thing twice, so, and it really wasn't getting up off the ground, and so I ended up, collaborating with OG more, becoming part of the channel, and it just kind of going at that. Well, many moons later, finally becoming a West Coaster myself and having the opportunity, I always dreamed of living in a state that I could get to a Disney park like within a drive's time, whether it was normally I was aiming for like Walt Disney World. Never really thought it would be Disneyland out here in California, but that's how the dice rolled for me. And so it is an absolute dream that I could actually get to the parks more often than having to keep on booking hotels and flights and what have you. So I thought, well, maybe this is the opportunity for me to finally kind of stretch out my horizons on doing in-park vlogging.
Sure.
And so I thought, but I enjoy being on Orange Grove 55. I love the content. I love doing it with these guys basically every day. There's not a day that goes by that we don't talk or text or anything, And so I thought, well, how can I have the best of both worlds? So I talked to OG and I said, I would love it if we created a sister channel for Orange Grove 55 where we could still do the podcast style form, kind of like round table discussion of what his channel actually started out to be, and then have a sister channel of me being in the parks, vlogging, covering major events, covering what have you, anything that we decide to do to kind of have that creativity, but still be ourselves, in the same spot that we are in the studio, but do it in the park form. And, and so far, Ebba actually came up with the title, and I actually fell in love with it with Citrus Central, and it just had a nice ring to it. And so I kind of have some ideas flowing. We kind of already teased out a few in-park vlogs already that's been one has been uploaded on the regular Orange Grove 55 channel. It's me and Abby covering some of the new Lunar New Year foods. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. We do have a part 2 coming out, and also a couple other things, which they will eventually be uploaded to the Citrus Central channel, and a lot more to come. So it's definitely between Citrus Central, Webavision, Web Shots, all that good stuff. The original Orange Grove 55 on top of Citrus Corner and Orange Nerd and all that, and just the Orange Grove 55 brand is just basically branching out. No pun.
Yeah, branching out, exactly. Well, I'm just really excited that you and Webba finally started a couples vlog. I think that's really adorable. I like that's kidding. No, I was kidding. No, it's actually an inside joke because George had a dream about Webba a couple months ago.
I heard it last night, and it got a little spicy on moment. Good Lord, do I need some popcorn or something?
No. Okay, Conductor, you know what? What you need is some good old-fashioned baby oil, like what George said.
There you go. Exactly.
Hey, I work at Costco, so I could supply that real easy.
Oh, there we go, George. You ready, baby? You ready? Come on.
Let's get it on.
Absolutely.
Off. I just want to say it's to see you guys grow. I'm just I'm so blessed to have friends like you guys. I'm so blessed, OG. Sad to say, many, if not millions of people lost their homes in Los Angeles and in the surrounding areas. I'm so blessed that you didn't lose your home.
Thank you very much.
If I'm just so blessed. You know, I wake up every day. We all wake up every day to create such amazing content for all the theme park nerds out there. And I mean everybody. It's just a fun thing. It's a great hobby to get into if you love the theme parks. And George, I love that you're starting that second channel. That way you can be in Disneyland more often. So if you see Josh tomorrow, you could say, "Hey, time's ticking up on that 5-year plan. I'm not seeing."
I'll just have to chase him down Main Street like I did on D23 day at Disneyland.
Perfect.
And I guess it was like one of his people that was with him and said, "Sorry, he has to keep going." I'm like, I just ran all the way down Main Street. I'm getting a selfie with him, and he was very nice to actually.
Oh, that's good.
Turn back around to get a quick selfie. As I said, as a person, he's really nice. He's very sociable and what have you. But yeah, he has to nail this landing with everything that he promised us at D23. He has to deliver.
Yeah. Now I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Theme Park Wizard in the chat. Well, hello there. Yeah, he's actually a travel advisor. So yeah, book with Mr. Theme Park Wizard, absolutely. And also George, he's saying he loves your vlogs. He wants to meet you on the parks on Sunday.
I might be there, Mr. Wizard. So I'll definitely let you know.
There you go.
And we're going to talk about it later in the show. After 3 years, I finally got my magic key a week ago, and I've already twice. My Inspire key, as much as I didn't want to pay the price for it, then I did it. Because, to be honest with you guys, walking down, downtown Disney with all the changes it's had, I've already had the Werther's popcorn, caramel popcorn twice now. Absolutely fallen in love with it. I get it now every time I go there. Seeing it looks like Earl's Sandwich is now being built, slowly, but it is being built. Then the Disneyland Resort actually posted, and I actually have an article about it. They posted permits for the third location, that Best Buy looking building that David from Fresh Bake likes to call it when it was construction. Then we also have permits for the former ESPN Zone building. I want to ask you guys about that. In that building, because they're starting to strip, the old facade of, ESPN. They got rid of the big Jumbotron. They're starting to, strip it down to just the building itself. I want to ask you guys, with such a massive building, do you think it might be a temporary fix? Do you guys think it's for the long haul, or what do you guys think?
We actually did a reaction video on my channel about this. It was actually a reaction video to Hey Bricky.
Okay.
And I think Hey Bricky had the right idea. And basically, to kind of in a nutshell, Hey Bricky was basically saying it's a pretty big investment. And from what we understand, it's going to be home for a few different businesses, a few different venues.
Sure.
So it's permanent.
Yeah.
It's permanent. Now, permanent, anything really at Disneyland Resort, especially at like a thing like Downtown Disney, permanent always will have like a little bit of an asterisk at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, in 30 years or something, right? I mean, if they want to bulldoze it and put something else there, they're going to do it, right? But by and large, I believe personally, this building is going to stay for the foreseeable future. Yes, technically, in the year 2072, they might demolish it or something. Who knows? But I think the goal right now, though, is to repurpose it to have multiple vendors, right?
Sure.
And I think that's the game plan. I don't think there's any plan right now to get rid of it and to make it anything else.
Yeah.
that's kind of where my head's at with that. And you know, also in that Bricky video, he was kind of speculating about a third park, right? And that area, that piece of land that it sits on, is prime real estate for any kind of potential gateway into this third park that could potentially kind of weave in and out of like the Disneyland Hotel and the Pixar Place Hotel and the Symbol Lot and all that stuff, right? So yeah, that's where it is right there, exactly.
Yeah.
And I agree with Bricky. He said that he doesn't think that's going to happen. He doesn't think a third park is going to be put in this area. I would agree with him on that. I think that would be foolish on Disney's part to do that when you have 75 acres of the Toy Story parking lot.
Yeah.
This as a third park would be a convoluted mess with all the hotels and also a pinch point with downtown Disney right there. It doesn't make any sense. So it's not going to be a third park over here for sure. And so they're going to keep this building. There's no need to get rid of it. They're going to plus it, change it up. And instead of getting one vendor, they're going to have maybe 3 or 4 of them in there now and make good money. So yeah, it's here to stay. Like I said, for at least a few more decades.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of how I feel. George, how you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel for me that Disney is going to want to try to expand, but not do something where it's going to cause them more chaos as far as like with a lot of the construction and the maneuvering of stuff, because they're already going to have to do that already.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Downtown Disney, it's kind of a placement where it's just going to be just so much of a mess, where if you try to create a third gate into, you know, this area, you have the entranceway, the exit way going into Downtown Disney, moving into the Esplanade. There's just so much in this space already that it would work when you can have it as expansion to Disneyland, because the Lilo and Stitch parking lots are already going to be destined for future development for Disneyland Park.
Sure.
So I feel like that's where it would be more easier, where they can integrate the expansion from Disneyland Park and move it into the parking lots, rather than literally starting from scratch to create new entranceway, new exit way, more turnstiles. It's just that's just going to be a mess where this placement is.
Yeah, because right now, as we're speaking, the monorail track, all the stations are closed, especially the one in downtown Disney. They're updating the turnstiles to the new turnstiles. And one thing I took away from your live stream last night, and again, I take it as pure speculation. I don't know if you guys have more concrete evidence than what you guys talked about last night. I know there was a talk about possibly putting maybe Zootopia in this Lilo and Stitch parking lot, which would be behind Bayou Country. And I kind of, was thinking about it. I said, well, the second movie is going to kind of reference more of that Bayou type thing.
Uh-huh.
Also, you got the animals and whatnot, but also on the other hand, you got the first movie, which takes place in the city. So if they decide to do that, I wouldn't be opposed to it, because anything new coming to the Disneyland Resort is well needed. I just don't know. I'm kind of up in the air if it should go here or still pushing for that Hollywood backlot in DCA.
I would prefer it personally. I would prefer Zootopia to land in DCA. I feel like that property is very much a DCA property, and they've already been beta testing it at DCA with the character meet and greets for a little while now.
Yeah.
So I would prefer it to take over Hollywoodland, like turn that whole area into Zootopia. You can put the e-ticket where the bus load unload loop thing is, but is that going to happen? Probably not, to be honest with you, because we have Pandora they got to fit in this park, or either that or Symbol Lot. Yeah. And we also have the Coco boat ride, which is a pretty significant attraction from what we're hearing, So I just don't know. I have a feeling Hollywoodland is going to be saved for other things, but I mean, Zootopia would be perfect because it's already an urban area. It wouldn't take too much work to kind of strip those buildings down and turn them into Zootopia-fied buildings.
Yeah.
And look, we've seen them do that with great success. Look at what they did with the entry into California Adventure when it was all that really tacky, like
Yeah.
Beach Boy shit. Like when you first walk into DCA, they stripped all those buildings down and transformed that into Buena Vista Street.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot with that. I mean, if you put the money in and stuff, you can do a lot with that. And they can do that here with Zootopia, but will they? I don't know. I'm still thinking this is going to be Pandora, or at least part of it. That's just kind of where my head's at right now.
Yeah.
Really quick, I just want to touch upon, because OG, you reminded me about with Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde doing the meet and greets at DCA. And I actually took a couple photos and I sent it to OG because they moved Nick and Judy away from their original meet and greet spots, which is like right by Grizzly Peak, because they got the Turning Red characters meeting there for the Lunar New Year. But they moved them to Hollywoodland, which that was the first time ever, to my knowledge, that I've ever seen the Zootopia characters doing a meet and greet in Hollywoodland.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as like the metropolitan side of Zootopia, I think they kind of already have the structure work that's already there. They wouldn't really have to do too much, sort of like what they're doing with Monsters Inc. done at Hollywood Studios. You have the facades kind of already there, but they're just going to monsterify them, you know, and kind of make it more like Monstropolis. They could do the same thing with Zootopia. But really quick, my last thing is, I find it very interesting that a lot of these projects, especially for Disneyland, we've yet to know where exactly these are all going when it comes to Avatar and Coco. The speculation areas that we are assuming that's where they're going to go, whether Avatar goes into Hollywoodland or the Simba lot, or Coco goes behind Incredicoaster or even in Hollywoodland. A lot of the higher ranged areas would seem to make sense, but yet when you look at it, it looks like an operational nightmare. And I mentioned this to OG. Take Coco, for example. I recently was at DCA walking through the pier. It's already a cluster of people getting in line for the Incredicoaster, the Pixar Palaron, just walking through right where they have the Pixar Promenade. You have the Pixar character meet and greets with Inside Out and Toy Story and what have you. So it's already a cluster of people, but you then put Coco, a highly immersive dark boat ride for all ages, in the mix. So even though, there's lots of room back there for the ride itself, the show building, but the queuing is going to have to be before the actual building itself. So where are you putting all these people that are trying to line up for the ride, but also walk through the pier at the same time?
Well, and here's the issue too, and then I'll give it to Webba. I want to get your take on this, Webba, but like, it's weird too, because a lot of people have been saying like, oh, Coco has to go at the pier because that's where the Pixar stuff is. But that's not where all the Pixar stuff is. We already have Cars Land, which is not Pixar Pier, and we have Monsters Incorporated. So Disney has already broken that rule already. So I agree with George. Putting Coco here is a logistical shit show. Really, it's a mess. So if the fan kind of mindset is, well, that's where the Pixar stuff is. Well, that doesn't even really make sense to me, because they've already broken that rule twice now with Cars Land and Monsters. So I'd rather break that rule again and put it somewhere that actually operationally makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, put that in Hollywoodland. Turn that back little area with Monsters and Hollywood and Dine and all that stuff into a cool little Olvera Street, like little Mexican area that you lead up into the big Coco Dart ride. That would make much more sense. You have outdoor vendors cooking Mexican food. It'd be awesome. Yeah. But to put it here when it's already a mess, it's already a huge mess with people. It would just be horrible. But Webb, I do apologize, sir. What are your thoughts on this, brother?
So there's a lot, right? That was said. Essentially, this picture. So let me start with this. This picture right here, like if you just have that self-contained there, maybe a little bit higher. Besides Incredicoaster, you're kind of, in my opinion, you're kind of essentially looking at Toy Story Land in a sense, like Toy Story Mini Land, basically. And I was actually talking to George a few days ago about this. DCA has bigger walking paths, for the crowds. But when DCA is packed, you really feel the crowdedness in DCA. It's wild. And in this area right here, when it's packed, you are just smushed in there, dude. You can't walk anywhere. But yeah, Hollywoodland, I've said it many times. I'll say it again. That is my least favorite area. I never go there unless I just want to walk and I'm waiting for like a lightning lane or something.
Well,
I don't go ahead, Conductor.
Oh, no. Go ahead, because I want to bring something up. So go ahead.
Yeah. I agree with OG that I would love to see Zootopia go into that Hollywood area because it already has that urban setting, and at night it would look beautiful. For Avatar, I don't want. Looking at the map. I wouldn't want Avatar going right there. I just can't see. Again, this is why I'm not an Imagineer. I can't see it going in that area. I would prefer it if it went here in the Simba lot because you already have a bunch of groundwork to work with, and it's just you can make a path and have like a nice kind of scenic view when you're walking through like the forestry, and then boom, you come out, you got Pandora right there. That would be so awesome.
And I'm right there with you, Ebba, because as I said, I still, for the life of me, there's room for Pandora to fit in Hollywoodland.
Yeah.
But aesthetically to the eye, I don't understand how you're walking down Buena Vista Street.
Exactly.
You get the Carthay Circle, you bank a left, you're in Pandora. You walk into Pandora. Oh, and then to your right, there's Mission Breakout for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Now let me play devil's advocate though.
Sure.
Because I don't disagree with George on that. I don't disagree with you guys on that at all. Sure. I mean, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around it. But is it that much different though? Hypothetically, is it that much different from if you go down Buena Vista Street and you make a left and you go into Pandora?
Sure.
Is that all that much different though than going down Buena Vista Street, making a right, and going into Grizzly Peak?
So, yeah, you're right about that. However, I will say that in current theme park times of projects and construction and the way you want to build stuff, you want to build it in a more aesthetically and themed manner. Whereas instead of just going, okay, now we're in this place, right? You want kind of like a gradual thing, kind of like what Epic Universe is doing in their Epic Universe
transitioning. Part. Now,
a transition. Yes, thank you, George. I couldn't think of the word.
You're to your point, OG. I do agree with you in that sense. The only thing that makes me think, like when you go off of Buena Vista Street into Grizzly Peak, you start off in, I guess it used to be called Condor Flats, where Soarin' is, and then it kind of transitions into into Grizzly Peak. So I feel like, as Ebba was describing, the transitioning, I feel, is a much better tone than being on Buena Vista Street, and then immediately going into Pandora, unless they do this thing with the cinematic thing, because that's where it would make a whole lot of sense. But go ahead, Ebba. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah. Well, so see, here's my thing with what OG has pitched for a little while now about changing the name to Disney Cinematic Adventure. I'm kind of, now that we're all talking about it after months after D23 happened, I could still see why they call it Disney California Adventure. Because if you really want to think about it and dive deep, and again, us nerds, theme park nerds, we dive into this stuff. The average Disney guest does not. They don't think about this. But when you call it Disney California Adventure, not saying I love the name, but California, you got Grizzly Peak, you got the forest area. That's why they named the 5-star hotel, the Grand California.
Right.
On the other side, you got Buena Vista Street. You got Hollywood Backlot, you got Avengers Campus, and Pixar. Now think about this for a minute. Where do most of these movies come out of? Hollywood. Where's Hollywood? In California. Right. So it kind of ties that in. Now I want to ask you, just to divert off just for a second, about the Coco ride. Because Wizard, he posted in the comments, he said for Coco, rumor has it inside out would be removed for a Coco queue.
I've heard I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that too, Wizard. I've heard that too, and that's a strong possibility because that's been going around now for a little while, and it's very possible they do that. You know, I personally don't like this attraction over there for a number of reasons. I think when Josh D'Amaro sold us the idea that this Coco Dark Ride was something on par with like a Pirates of the Caribbean or a Haunted Mansion. He literally said that on stage. Okay, so I'm just going off of what D'Amaro said. But if you're gonna sell it like that, this is this is a boat ride like on par with Disney's best.
Yeah,
and you're gonna put that thing are basically in the land that's arguably one of Disney's worst.
Yeah.
Okay. I just can't, like you guys, like with the Pandora thing in Hollywood. It just, I can't, my brain can't wrap around that. Well, so we're gonna sit there we're gonna sit there in the middle of the Incredicoaster coaster in that little circular area where the Inside Out thing is at right now. We're gonna watch these roller coaster cars go around and around while we're waiting in line for Coco, and then magically go into this giant show building in this immersive, crazy themed Mexican dark ride.
Well,
go ahead, Bubba.
Oh, sorry. So George, you go first. I'll go after you.
Sorry, just really quick. I just want to say, because I mentioned this to actually both OG and Ebba about this. When you look at the pier as it is, it's a pier decorated with Pixar. Right. It's not really what you call a themed land of Pixar. So when you're taking an immersive ride of what they're calling for Coco, it has nothing to do with a pier-like quality attraction.
Right.
So it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. It's not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And I was going to, and to bounce off of that with George, because I do agree. The pier doesn't, it's themed to, like, you know, the California pier or California pier in a Pixar way, but there's no really like story elements in Pixar Pier per se, right? You have like the games, you have Toy Story Midway Mania, then you have the coaster, and again, like they're all kind of more loose stories more than something that's really immersive.
Yeah.
Whereas Coco, I feel, is going to be a more really in-depth themed immersive attraction, right, with the story, and that just doesn't fit in that area with those lineup of attractions, in my opinion.
So the question really becomes, because you know it's all viable options. The Hollywood backlot is prime real estate for either Avatar, which personally, it has the room, but it's that size right there where I'm scared, you know, things are going to be like cheap. And I don't mean that in the mean way. I mean it with all respect, because I have all respect for the Avatar movies, James Cameron, everything. I'm just saying I'd rather it be in the Simba lot where they have enough breathing room and they already have a head start. Because if you think about it, the Simba lot, it's all flat. So they already have a huge advantage on building. They have a huge advantage on that. Now, if they decide to put Avatar in the Hollywood backlot, it's going to push back a little bit, because you can't close down the Disneyland resort to start knocking buildings down. So that means permits, that means, you know, a demolition happening at night, which would have to inform the residents surrounding Disneyland that already hate the Walt Disney Company in general because of what they're doing with, you know, Disneyland Forward and that whole thing getting approved. So I think something as grand as Avatar, I think, should go into the Simba parking lot, because they already have a great head start. Now on a Coco thing, I think instead of it being a ride, I want the ride, but I want a whole land. And I think the Hollywood backlot would fit that. It's either that or Zootopia, but I'm kind of feeling like, you know what? We should have a Coco land, because it ties into the land, you know, culture that California holds.
You're 100% right, Conductor. It's crazy to me. We have a California park
Sure.
And you don't have a permanent land based on like Latin culture. You can have this Latin area, and you can have Coco in there, and then you can even add other properties, to represent Latin cultures.
Encanto?
I think it would be Encanto is great. Exactly, Webba. Exactly. I mean, you can do so much. It's like money on the table for them. I don't know why they don't. I mean, maybe they will. Hopefully they will. But I just think it's a waste of this opportunity to shove that beautiful boat ride on the pier.
Yeah. It's again, if you do that, okay. Let's say, they decide to do that. You're kind of landlocking yourself into basically, okay, well, we have a small representation of what Coco is, which is one attraction, maybe a meet and greet, if they can even fit that. So I think that would kind of be an insult. So I think, like I said, the Hollywood backlot, which I posted like a week ago. I was walking around the Hollywood backlot just to see what's going on. And, one of the weirdest things I posted on my X, I posted on all my social medias, they had Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh meeting in the Hollywood backlot. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So really the Hollywood backlot has no identity. It's like if they have extra meet and greets, they have, events, they just throw in the Hollywood backlot because there's no real purpose for it. Yes.
And sorry, Conductor, and this is why, and again, to OG's point, if they name it like a generic Disney Cinematic Adventure or what have you, you can throw anything in the park now. Because my argument has been that when you have the California, yes, you can have a lot of California stuff. There's a lot of California based things you can do. Sure. But in terms of the Disney brand of all the different IPs, I think you're kind of limiting yourself just to the California thing, and then you're like, okay, we have to stick to the California theme or something close enough to California. Well, whereas now if it's cinematic adventure, oh hey, 100-acre woods, Winnie the Pooh, come on over. Hey Tigger, let's go.
You can do anything, Webba. If you change it to cinematic adventure, you can make a whole area based on Moana. You can technically put Villains Land in DCA at that point. It's cinematic adventure. You can do just about anything in this park. And believe me, Disney, I think Disney has an interest in that. Because if you think about it, Pandora, the one thing we're getting out of this next 5 years, Pandora is the one thing that doesn't really feel like it fits California, right?
No.
So, but if you notice, Pandora is going to be it will be the last thing to open at the end of the 5 years. Yeah. So this would be a perfect opportunity with Pandora moving in and having very little to do or nothing to do with California. We assume, assuming nothing in California is coming up in the next few movies.
Sure.
So Avatar doesn't have anything to do with California. It's the last thing to open in the last 5 years at DCA. That would be the perfect time for them to announce a rebrand and a rededication of this park as Disney Cinematic Adventure or something along those lines. Absolutely. Because now you open Pandora with the new theme and it makes sense. Now Disney can go in there. They can put Moana in the Simba lot if they wanted to. They can put Villains Land. They can do anything, dude. The sky is the limit now at that park.
So basically, OG, what you're saying is Disney would be opening up Pandora's box.
Yeah, exactly. I've been saying that since I've been blue in the face. You know what I'm saying? Na'vi joke.
It's funny to mention that because, we're only a little less than a year away until the new CEO is announced and takes over the Walt Disney Company. And it makes me wonder if something like that will be part of the new CEO's agenda to change the name of Disney California Adventure. Yeah. Now, another thing, and this is going on the East Coast just for a minute, that you guys talked about last night was you guys brought up, the Hall of Presidents. Again, I've never been to Walt Disney World. Eventually I will. But you brought up the Hall of Presidents, and there's been a sign out there saying it's closed for refurb. Normally, like you guys talked about, when a new administration comes in, they they have a sign out there saying we are getting it ready for the new president to, show up, or a sign just like that. And you guys said in your live stream last night that basically you don't think it would be wise right after the Walt Disney Company got in a huge political, mess with DeSantis, the Florida government, all this crazy nonsense. And now that Trump is back in office, from what I took from you guys last night was basically they're putting Trump back in the front,
Right.
to do the introduction and all that, because they don't want to start any more troubles politically. Now, my whole thing is, just to cap it off, was, again, with this new CEO, I don't think it would be wise to even screw with that. Now, when it comes to the West Coast on, renaming DCA to Disney Cinematic Adventure, if that's what they do, I think that's brilliant, because now you can throw, like you guys are saying, you can throw any IP in there that you want.
Yeah, and you still keep the acronym DCA. So it's like the Magic Key holders and stuff. The locals that
Sure.
love calling it DCA can still call it DCA.
Yeah.
The other thing too with the Hall of Presidents, here's the thing: Disney isn't going to get involved with that. They're not gonna shut that down right when Trump gets a second term in office. Right? Love him or hate him, it doesn't really matter what we think about him politically. But love him or hate him, he's the president, and if Disney were to do that right now, Trump would get out there, and Disney would have a giant target on its back again.
Oh God, yeah.
And he would pick on them and pound on them. It would be one more thing that Disney doesn't need right now. It just have them in there and just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to have that kind of drama, because
Sure.
he will zero in on them again, and then you don't need any of that shit. So I honestly just leave it the way it is. In my opinion, just stay out of it and leave it the way it is. And then in 4 years, we'll have a Democrat, I'm sure, because that's how it usually is. It goes back and forth. Just give it 4 years. We'll have a Democrat in there, then the Democrat gets in there. So just, if I was Disney, I would leave it alone. And I really do think they are going to leave it alone. You even see progressive like Tim Cook. Tim Cook is not a conservative, okay?
No.
The guy who runs Apple, the Apple CEO, is not a conservative. He's very much progressive. He's even working with Trump because he sees it as a look, what are you going to do? He's the president, so just play. These companies have to play ball to some degree. Love it or hate it. You don't have to like Trump, but the reality is they have to play ball, and they don't want to rock the boat and have the Trump administration go after them.
Yeah, exactly. And, not to get too political, but I think that would be smart, because if you look on the other side of the spectrum with NBC Universal Comcast,
Right.
they announced that they're dropping, I think it's CNBC and, those channels, because they're getting just so, so crazy with political everything. And I kind of feel that, with Disney and Universal, or Comcast, as you call them, they shouldn't involve politics in something that a company should be more focused on, guest experience, bringing IPs to life and their theme parks. This whole political nonsense needs to just, die already. It needs to just not be part of the companies. It needs to be a separate entity away from it. And I kind of feel that, it would be a great direction for the Walt Disney Company to do that. Now, on the West Coast here, like I said, changing the name for the new CEO coming in, I think that would be a great move, a great first move. And then, just bring all these IPs to life. Again, it's something where we don't know where these lands are going. Avatar, we don't know where the Coco ride's going. All we know is that is definitely confirmed where it's going is the two new attractions for Avengers Campus. That's all we know.
Right.
Unless you guys know something I don't. But that's the only thing I've taken away from D23, that we definitely have a confirmation and a set location where those attractions are going.
And a name change or a theme change for DCA, you're right, would be a big move for Disney.
Yes.
And you're right, we are getting a new CEO. I think they're going to make that announcement or I think it was early 2026, which is about a year from now.
Yeah.
And then Bob Iger leaves by the end of 2026. Yeah. So going into 2027, we have a new person in there, or new people even. We might have a dual role, right? Exactly. Well, anytime new management comes in, they like to shake things up. And they like to shake things up early on and kind of put their mark on this really fast. Even with like, if you have like an office job or something, every office job I've ever had, whenever we would get like a new manager, the new manager would come in and immediately want to change things.
Oh yeah.
This is what they do. This is what they do. This is what Bob Iger did when he came in the first time. This is what Bob Chapek did when he came in, right? So this new person or people that come in after Bob Iger, they're going to want to make changes, big changes early on. And changing the theme of this park would be one of those big changes, in my opinion. I mean, one of the big changes Iger made when he came into the Walt Disney Company, just a couple years into his term in 2007, was spending $1 billion to fix this thing that Michael Eisner messed up. So it's not too far fetched that the new CEO might announce that they might push for a theme change. It's a possibility. It absolutely is.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys one more thing about the Disney company before, we talk about anything else. It was posted, I think either today or yesterday, that the Walt Disney Company out in Florida, the Galactic Star Cruiser, which was an epic failure, they are now going to convert that hotel into Imagineer space, and they're going to have Imagineers move in with the offices. I posted on X, I said, what a ginormous waste. But they got to do something with the building. I understand that. My whole thing is, do you think that's smart? Do you think they should have attempted to try to revive it? Obviously try to revive it, but not sit there and charge $6,000 for a 2-night stay. I'm sorry, when they first announced that was just a buzz killer. I don't think, don't get me wrong, people went to it. Don't get me wrong on that, but not how many people do you guys know, literally, that can spend $6,000 or whatever the crazy amount was to stay 2 nights at an immersive hotel?
It's crazy. No, I mean, who is that? Who was that for?
Exactly.
Like the Star Wars nerd? You think the average Star Wars nerd has that kind of money on them?
No, that was purely just for the diehards, and that's why you saw the influx of people booking it, and then it just dropped off because your average everyday person can't do that. I can't do that for sure. Well, and here's the thing. Even if I did, you think I would spend $6,000 for 2 nights? You're out of your damn mind. I would not even do that.
I'll even go one step further than you, Ebba. Even if you did do that, just to say one time for the experience, after that one time, would you ever do it again?
No, exactly.
So after everyone has at least maybe attempted to try to do it once,
yeah.
I mean,
I can find a lot of other.
I wouldn't spend that amount of money on that. I find more entertainment walking into a Bed Bath and Beyond, but.
I could find a lot. I could find a lot of other things I could spend $6,000 on. It ain't gonna be that. I can tell you that right now.
I want to ask you guys for a second. Well, yeah, I'm now a lot of OG backstage stuff would happen with $6,000. I can only imagine.
Well,
I want to ask. Now, let's say, for example, they, instead of it being $6,000 like it was, let's say, I don't know, let's say maybe it was a 3-day, 4-day experience and they charged maybe $1,500 or $2,000. Would that still be too much? Or would that be more reasonable?
That's more reasonable. I mean, bringing it down to any degree is more reasonable. I think what they should have done is I think they should have priced it basically like an expensive Disney hotel.
Yes.
Like, so if you book a room at the Grand Cali,
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, you're looking at like what, like $700-800 or something, right? Typically, roughly ish. I think a price point like that would have been fair, very fair. You know, the problem is that they had to pay all the performers and all that stuff that basically live there. You know, I mean, they live there for whatever it is, or how many days it is. You know, so it's an expensive thing to operate. Yeah. So they probably couldn't really lower it too much. It was the way it was designed and packaged and brought forth. It was kind of destined to fail, unfortunately. But
go ahead.
Sorry, Conductor. I was going to say, I think maybe Disney with that, I could be wrong, but it sounds like they were trying to hit like the LARPing market a little bit.
Yeah.
Now they could probably attempt that, but they needed to go about it in a different way. This was a total failure on all fronts. And here's the thing. This was also because it was more of a LARPing thing. Yeah. Okay, at a hotel, this is forced fun, okay? Yeah. At a hotel, I don't want to have forced fun, okay? I want to go to the hotel, drop off my stuff, be like, okay, this is cool, right? And then it's really like themed and immersive in like a Star Wars Star Cruiser, like a spaceship, right? That's dope. But then I want to go and I want to go to the park. Yeah. Okay. And you're gonna charge me $6,000. That better come with like free meals, right? That better come with like a massage, a sauna, like the tickets better be included in that. But it's like, no.
Have that, Ed, but you know what it's called? It's called a Disney cruise.
Yeah, exactly. And here's for $6,000, you can do 3 Disney cruises for $6,000.
You could if you pick the right season, pick the right ship, the right destination. Yeah, you can get about 3 Disney cruises.
There you go.
No, but it makes a great point, and I do respect that Walt Disney is utilizing that building finally after it's sitting abandoned for a very long time. I'm glad the Imagineers are going to be able to use that building, but now you're talking about pouring more money into that building to retrofit for offices, and that's thrown at it.
Yes, George, you and Lucas Kim had an interesting. We have a group text thing, right, with Lucas Kim, and he texted both of us. What you guys had an interesting discussion today. If you want to kind of about this, if you want to kind of touch upon that, because I thought both of you had really good arguments. Kind of different sides of the equation, but two very different, interesting points. If you want to go ahead and elaborate on that. You good, George?
Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
He was dreaming of Ebba again.
He's dreaming of Eva, bro. You can't get off. Can't get.
I think.
Yeah, he froze. He said he's been having internet issues all day.
I'm so sorry, guys. I really want to punch this fucking thing in the ass.
There we go.
Special
anyway, anyway, yeah, we have like a little group chat, and I was talking with Lucas Kim because he was like giving out like his frustrations of like, why is Disney doing this? This is like prime real estate for future park expansion, which in all actuality it is. I mean, that's a good chunk of land that you could expand Disney's Hollywood Studios, especially because where Hollywood Studios is placed, like where it was built, it's kind of landlocked, so to speak, where it's surrounding by a lot of Disney resort hotels, and there's not a lot of space to build off of. So any little piece of area of room is good. I think in time, not right now, I think in time that area will be destined for future theme park expansion for Disney's Hollywood Studios. However, even though it's saying for Imagineering, and they're probably going to utilize it for the projects that are going on with Monsters Inc. and possibly even with Cars Land and Villains and what have you. So they're having the offices. There's a lot of offices that's behind the Star Wars launch bay off of the animation courtyard, which a lot of people were saying that's where they would put monsters, but then people were saying, well, where's all our offices going to go? If they utilize this area for offices for WDI, then they could possibly move those offices and then expand back behind the Star Wars launch pad.
I agree with that. What do you guys think?
It's a possibility. That could be the game plan. Absolutely. And we also have to remember, also the Lake Nona thing fell through, right?
Yeah.
So, they're looking to have a little bit more of a presence in Florida, but obviously they didn't want to do Lake Nona. So maybe this is like a way to do that. It could be that angle or, but yeah, it's interesting. It is just kind of weird to me though. It is a little weird to me though. You have the blessing of size.
Sure.
Like, and you can't come up with like another area where you can put imaginary.
Yeah.
And this is where Walt Disney World, in my opinion, sorry, George, they really kind of mismanage like the way they utilize the space and size over there in Florida. Like here, I think it's kind of like a blessing in disguise that our resort park is smaller because of the constraints. They have to, they're kind of forced to think outside the box and utilize every nook and cranny that they can.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, Disney was like, hey, we got all of this space.
But
what are we gonna do?
I also have to add to that. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit with that, because actually who brought it to my attention was Jack from DSNY.
Yeah.
Where even though that there technically is over 27,000 acres of space in Walt Disney World, twice the size of Manhattan Island, there's still a lot of marked areas within the perimeters of Walt Disney World that you just cannot build on.
Right, the soil, right, or something.
Yeah, there's certain areas that even Walt actually like blocked off for only for wildlife and conservation, so Disney can't touch. Also, with the water levels and the building structures, it has to be up to code if they could actually even build on that. And then plus also the way that the weather has been, like with with everything going on all wacky, they have to kind of change some things if the water levels raise and what have you. So, but to your point, Ebba, if they have to do that, why can't then Walt Disney World get creative with that kind of stuff as how Disneyland does? But it is what it is. But I feel like, and on the map, I'm trying to find where there's Hollywood Studios right there. Yeah, see, it's just like and here's the thing too, the parking lot for Hollywood Studios is massive.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even just talking about myself, but
oh shit, George, you're that guy.
He is.
Oh my God, I'm really that guy. Yeah, bitch, I'm outside.
No, you're that guy, George. George is 6 feet tall, laying on his back.
wait, hold on a second. OG, so are you saying like that George is twice the size of Manhattan?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But in any case, yeah. So where Hollywood Studios is, it basically is kind of landlocked. So like wherever they can get prime real estate. But as I said, just because they're using it for offices right now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where it's going to stay. I think in time it will eventually become. I mean, look at it; it's like a desert wasteland already.
Well, but yeah,
that, like I think that could eventually become. Well,
look. The Star Wars fans were complaining that we never got Tatooine. We never did. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's great.
Well, real quick. I know we're talking about Walt Disney World, but speaking of parking, though, I still want to know what's happening with our parking over here in Anaheim.
Okay.
Because you're building the Pandora and the two other things. We'll need the parking, and we haven't gotten any confirmation on when they're going to be building that.
OG, have you heard anything about that?
Nothing. I've heard nothing about that. I'm surprised they haven't started on the Eastern Gateway yet. I'm really surprised.
myself.
Because that's supposed to go. Let's see here. Let me see if I can. I think that's what, right here somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, right here. There. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. So it makes me wonder why they haven't. Is this considered, this whole area here, is this all considered cast member parking?
That I'm not sure.
Can you scroll down real quick, Conductor?
Yeah.
I think the one right in the center. I think that's cast member parking because I know when you're getting off the freeway. That right side actually a long time ago used to be guest parking. Now it's now it's part of cast member parking.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the lot on the top is part of cast member parking. That I'm not sure.
Because this almost looks like a building here. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know if that's a hotel. I don't know if that's a commercial building or what the hell that is. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what that is.
That's what OG dropped his $6,000 on.
Yeah, that building. That's OG 55 HQ right there. That's where we filmed.
Right?
But yeah, it really makes me wonder, because we've all talked about the Eastern Gateway project has to start and be completed before all these other lands, especially Avatar, comes. So it's like, when the hell are they going to start that?
Yeah, no, I know. Well, here's the thing. We did a video recently on this, and technically they don't have to. They don't have to wait for the Eastern Gateway to at least start.
Oh,
Pandora. Like, for example, like if they put Pandora in the Hollywood backlot,
yeah,
you can start bulldozing the stuff that's in the park right now. You don't need the Eastern Gateway for that.
No.
So technically they could start it, but yes, to finish it off and to do the whole thing, you need the parking structure, the gateway. But you can start demolishing now. I mean, at least Hollywood, Symbolot's a little different because you're cutting into parking spaces. So that is, you don't have as much flexibility, right, Webba? Not as much flexibility.
Flexibility.
But with the Hollywood backlot, I mean, you can bulldoze Monsters Inc. today if they wanted to.
Well, OG, but here's the thing though. Will the Eastern Gateway, because I don't remember, will the Eastern Gateway include like buses, Uber and Lyft services now? Because when you look on the side right there, like in Hollywood Land, you have that entire lineup where like all like the drop off rideshare stuff is.
Yeah, that's why they're going to get rid of that current area, and it's all going to move over to the Eastern Gateway.
Yeah. So then, but if they started building there though, even if it was whether it's Zootopia or Avatar in this spot, wouldn't they then lose out on that if they don't have the Eastern Gateway built up already?
Yeah, they would.
Well,
yeah, they would.
So let me ask you guys this. Let's say, for example, they put Avatar in the Hollywood backlot, and they have to figure out how to build around the monorail track. Let's say they do that. It's something I'm sure they could camouflage. Would it look right? Who knows? If they do it right, it would be okay. I just don't think Avatar, and Avatar being there with a monorail track right in the middle of it, it would look a little weird whether they can cover it good or not. My question is, if they put something like Coco or they put something like Zootopia, they don't have to touch nothing with the monorail track because they can make it work. Now, go ahead, Webba. Before
no, I was gonna say, well, I have two thoughts about that. One, I personally, what I think was gonna happen in like these coming years with the expansion of like Downtown Disney, DCA, and whatever, or even maybe Disneyland. I really think that eventually the monorail itself is going to have to go down completely because you're going to have to reroute the entire track. And we were saying about covering it up. I don't think they want to go through the hassle of trying to cover up the monorail track. Just stop the service, get rid of like the pillars and reroute it. Right now for Avatar, for Pandora, you look at the monorail. It kind of looks like a high tech like transportation system, even though in our modern society, like we're not like at the level of Pandora technology. So maybe they can, I don't know, get like a better looking or higher tech, or paint it to look like a better tech monorail. I don't know. Maybe something where even if they put it through DCA, it doesn't go through Pandora. You know, it goes around like Grizzly or something like that. Because if they do reroute the monorail, if if it goes through DCA, because if we talk about Simba lot in the hotels, I would think they would want to probably connect stuff over there.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think like, okay, if you don't want to put the monorail through Pandora, if it's like right there in the Hollywood area, then just have it go on the other side and just kind of go through the park probably.
Well,
but then again, you do that, you're now putting pillars all throughout DCA now, see? So it's like
exactly. And that was the conversation we had before when we all heard the red car trolley was, and saying, well, could they put the red car trolley going down, you know, towards the pier and going toward the the Festival of Gardens area where they host Lunar New Year and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we all said, well, yeah, it sounds great in theory, but it would be a giant pain in the ass because, you know, people won't get out of that. So it would probably hit more people than it would be productive. You know, having giant pillars, you would have a Tomorrowland 2.0 all over again, but now in DCA, where you have abandoned people mover tracks, but now you have monorail tracks right in the middle of, you know, so it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I think the best thing probably going forward will be to have the monorail go around the perimeter of the parks instead of like through them. So that way you can kind of get a cool view of the parks, but you're not interfering with guests and stuff inside the park. You know what I mean? Sure. And that way you don't have to have all these weird pillars everywhere, like structured and stuff like that. But yeah, I think to what you were saying is that with the monorail, I do think that you could get away with a bit of the monorail if it was presented in a certain way through Pandora, just because it is kind of a higher techie thing.
Sure.
But that's just kind of, I'm just like putting out kind of a stretch there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah. You know, oh, go ahead.
No, you guys are right. And here's the thing with the monorail, it really is, it does create a lot of issues with these expansions and what have you. Look, at Disneyland, it kind of runs through a lot of stuff too, but we kind of, I think because we've all grown up with Disney, so my alarm. Sorry, guys and gals. At Disneyland, it seems normal. Like we have literally the Matterhorn, the Swiss Alps, with the monorail track running around the Swiss Alps, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all either. You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense in the sense that, like, you know, we're comfortable with it, so we kind of like overlook it.
Yeah.
But when you're building, but you're right though, when we're building new stuff, and also the standard is higher with immersion nowadays, since these big, you know, Cars Land and Wizarding World and these areas, we expect more. So the monorail beam is a big issue for them. With Pandora or any of these lands, I'm confident they'll hide it. You can pretty much put that stretch in some sort of tunnel or something if they wanted to. And I think that's probably what they're going to opt to do. But it's pricey. You know, any option is going to be expensive, whether they reroute it, whether they try to cover it up, whatever they do with it, it's going to be a price tag for sure.
Well,
so
yeah. And OG, to your point, and that's what I was kind of talking about earlier about the transitions, is that what we have in Disneyland, right? That, you know, that's been done throughout the years. But as we go forward, there's new depths of immersion, techniques of constructing a new park. You know, we want more and more immersion in a better format in a current modern society as we move forward. That Disneyland forward, right? So it's just like, you know, we can't expect the same thing like from Disneyland. Basically, is like, oh, the monorail is going around the Matterhorn. That's normal, right? We got Alice in Wonderland over here, the teacups, you know. So it's like as we go forward, the Imagineering has to get more complicated.
Yep.
And more in depth, and more like, oh shit, we're like in the actual world of this, a nice flow transition. And that's what I want to see, and that's where I'm having a hard time with the DCA stuff, is, well, I mean, at least in terms if they put Pandora in Hollywood Land, because I'm like, that would, to me, just look really weird.
Yeah.
And actually, to what you were saying, Ebba, with the monorail with Pandora, the other issue that they would have to tackle is not really Disney per se to say, oh, that may not look right, but they also have to go through Cameron.
Yes.
And Cameron is a very meticulous stickler kind of person that wants to keep his world in that kind of domain. And that was the other thing too. Like, we're talking about for Hollywood Land, for Zootopia, and maybe put Coco over there. But here's the other thing too. The other elephant in the room is right off of that is Avengers Campus.
Yes.
And even though they're getting an expansion with, Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab, essentially that would be it for right now. But for future development, where does Avengers Campus go? Because from the denial of the first Eastern Gateway, they had essentially Hollywood Land is where Avengers was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And they had to actually move it to where A Bug's Land was. And A Bug's Land was kind of in this kind of cradle between Cars Land and Hollywood Land. So now that would be landlocked if they utilize it for anything. And then who does Disney have to face for that? Kevin Feige, another heavy hitter.
Now, the only other option for that though would be if Marvel goes the Pixar route, which is a possibility. I agree with you, George, and we've talked about that before in the channel. But the other route that they might go with Marvel is they might say, okay, Avengers Campus is done, and then we'll build Wakanda in the symbol lot. And I mentioned Pixar because it's kind of the same thing. We'll have like Monsters Inc. over here, Cars Land over here. They might have multiple Marvel areas in this park. Sure. Which is possible. Now, look, I've been diagnosed with OCD. Okay, so it drives that kind of shit drives me crazy. Okay, it does. But I can see Disney doing that. You know what I'm saying? I can see them doing that. Go ahead, Webb. I do apologize, brother.
No. To your point though, like actually to yours and George's is I could see that. Here's the thing. Personally, I would be fine if there was like a Wakanda in a kind of general vicinity of Pandora, because they both have a forestry theme element to it, right? And when George was saying about the whole notion of you being landlocked, that's my other concern. I brought this up before is, again, as we go like further into these land developments, how much space do we want taking up of one IP?
Well,
whenever they decide, they better do it well, because it won't be so bountiful.
Well, see, okay. Oh, it's really funny you bring that up, Webba, because I was actually gonna talk about that certain particular comment, even with Universal. But since we're talking about Disney, it also fits Disney as well. With the California parks, Disneyland, Universal Studios Hollywood. To jump to Universal just for a second. We've all seen in the months, watching the construction of Epic Universe, and Universal Japan getting full-blown versions of Super Nintendo World, getting full-blown versions of Donkey Kong. And here it is at Hollywood. Yeah, we got Super Nintendo World, but we got... First of all, we only had one attraction. Right. Second of all, we're missing many games that we should have had. We're missing meet and greet characters we shouldn't have had. Shops, snack stands, even the whole Donkey Kong Land in general. And I kind of feel that, again, no point intended, the Florida parks is where they're pumping the money and building these lands to the fullest extent. One, because they have the room. Two, because it's a tourist destination. We all admit that. But I kind of feel that the Florida parks have been getting love for so long. I think it's time to turn the flame down on the Florida parks after they get done building what they're building, and turn the heat up back on the Southern California park.
Hey, you know what, Conductor? The West Coast is back, baby.
Hi, Monster on the beat, ho.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think that, and honestly, in Universal's case, and in Disney's case too, but like you mentioned Universal, we are getting a lot with Universal. Like that Fast and Furious coaster.
Oh,
shout out. We're talking about it, I think, today, right? But like, shout out to Mondo from Five Fires. And Theme Park Wizard too. They've been showing a lot of footage, and you as well. You were there yesterday, right? At the live stream.
My my 2 pictures I showed of the track going over the escalators, it's still blowing up to this day on that.
Yeah, it's wild. It looks great. So, and in that, we're getting the hotel, right? The Universal Hotel at the entryway. And so they're investing pretty good there now, which is good. Because you're right, though, Conductor, for a long time there, even up until recently, I feel like Universal sort of treated Hollywood like, okay, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? We'll put the real heart and the real love and the real money and the real investments over there in Florida, you know? Yeah. So it's good to see us getting a little bit of love out here in Hollywood. Absolutely. And same with Disney. Obviously, it seems like Disneyland is getting a good investment with this Disneyland Forward stuff. So it's good to be a Californian right now. You know?
It definitely is. I want to, gentlemen, before we jump to the Universal stuff, because we got a bunch of stuff to talk about, updates with Fast and Furious, just some updates with the hotel and the main event, Fan Fest nights, which we'll get into as well. To kind of tie off Disney, I also watched, again, I watched your entire live stream last night, and great job on that, fellas. Absolutely great. You guys talked about at one point the convention center, being possibly acquired by Disney. Also, if you look on the map here to the very far right, you got the Toy Story lot.
Right.
Now, you guys talked about early in this live stream tonight about how, hey, Bricky was talking about the Lilo and Stitch area possibly being the third gate. Do you guys, looking at this map now, do you guys think the Toy Story lot is big enough to have a gate right there?
Yeah, Toy Story is definitely big enough. Okay, now here's the thing. And to give a little context into my comment about the convention center, somebody sent in a super chat on my live show last night, saying, like, hypothetically, sky's the limit. Like, what property would you demo for Disney? And I said the convention center because it's right there. It's perfect. It's right behind DCA. But I don't think it's ever going to happen, though. Like, realistically, it'll never happen because it's a cash cow for the city, and even a cash cow for Disney with D23 and stuff, But Toy Story lot is like 75, 80 acres ish that they can build on. Okay.
Absolutely.
You're never going to find this much land in one spot in Anaheim ever again. No. It's going to be a theme park.
Already own.
And they own it, and it's zoned for a theme park already, right? It's going to be a theme park. I know a lot of people say, oh, no, it's going to be another downtown. It's going to be a Disney Springs. Why would they build a Disney Springs? It makes no sense, okay? If you build a park here, you justify another hotel, which would be a huge moneymaker for them, and you can still maybe build a Disney Springs somewhere else. They can acquire 5 or 10 acres across the street somewhere and build another mall. You don't need 75 acres to do that. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because we're looking at this, and you said that basically Toy Story is zoned for theme park space, which is great.
Yeah.
When you talk about Disney Springs, which is basically the way I look at it, it's shopping. It's like Disney 3.0 in a way.
That's all it is. It's another downtown Disney. I mean, it's nice. I'm not crapping on it. It's nice. They got the aqua boats, which I love the aqua boats, and that dude that was our driver, George, the dude from like New Jersey, was great, man. I love that that stuff, But like, it essentially is a really nice mall. We have a million of those kind of malls out here in California, in LA. You go to the Grove, the Americana. Well, it's nothing new for Californians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like Disney Springs fits in the realm of Walt Disney World, because Walt Disney World is its own kind of little city in a sense. Essentially, that's what Walt wanted. He wanted it to be basically a living quarters, not just a vacation kingdom / resort, So, but yeah, like being out here in California, I've seen a lot of outdoor malls that are very elaborate, that is Disney Springs-esque, So put something else like that there when you got hundreds of other outdoor malls that are surrounding the Anaheim area, when you have, again, downtown Disney that they're already putting more money in to renovate. You have the Garden Grove, which essentially I feel like Disney could eventually buy up that in the near future.
That's what.
Garden Walk, yeah, they could. I mean, they really need to make a move.
Garden Walk, excuse me.
Garden Walk, yeah. You're confusing Garden Walk with the boba places, George. Is what you're.
So you said the Toy Story lot is how many acres?
It's like 75 they could put a park in there of 75, 80 acres, which is roughly the size of DCA without the Grand Cali.
Okay. So I'm looking at this area here, and I'm not saying Disney's gonna try to make a move here, but you got this square footage right here with 3 different apartment complexes. Could you see a slim possibility that
demo them?
Exactly,
because that was my option with the super chat one. What would you demo? I say honestly, get rid of all the residential area. Yeah. Honestly, they don't care. They bitch and they moan and they complain to city council. Oh, it's so noisy. Oh, there's like fireworks blowing off. Well, I'm sorry. Disneyland has been there before your sorry ass moved into the house. So go somewhere else. Move to Irvine. Move to San Francisco. Move to San Diego by Eva. Do whatever you want.
Move to Garden Grove, right?
Move to Garden Grove. There you go.
Wherever, you know.
Yeah,
I will say, I will say, Conductor. Yes, you can fit a park here, but that section though, that's where my problem is because I don't like how it's not even.
Yeah,
like an even square. It bothers me that if they have a park, it's going to be this weird kind of layout, and I'd rather have it if that section just could kind of go away and they can have that other like piece there to just kind of, you know, have it be a nice evenly square or almost evenly square area.
Well, here's the thing too, Ebba, though. The top left-hand corner of that property and the bottom left, that right there, and the bottom left right there, those are businesses. I believe the hotel, that's a Walgreens. They could buy those out and make that full square that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to point this out to you because you got the hotel right here. So they already got a hotel, just like what they had with the I think it was the Pixar Place Hotel, which they acquired back in the day, which was already built there. Now they have an opportunity to do the exact same thing and gut it and retheme it to Disney theme. So the hotel's already there, so they already got that locked in. If they, like Webb was saying, and George, if they could get rid of these 3 apartment complexes here, boom, you're set for success. You got the hotel already there. You can expand on it, but the footprint's already there. You get rid of those 3 hideous apartment complexes, and you're set.
You're set. I give them a 3-day notice. Put that on the door. They're not out in 3 days. I'll be riding on top of that wrecking ball like Miley Cyrus. Like I'd be like all in that.
That's pretty aggressive. Wow.
That is
wow.
It's your moment. This is it. As big as you're gonna get, so enjoy it.
Get out.
Hey, George, I can imagine George coming in. Knock. Hi, yeah, so these apartments are going to go down. You have 3 days to leave. We're not leaving. Okay. 3 days later.
George will be in a giant bulldozer with his horn. Just bulldozing an apartment building.
It's like, what the hell is that? It's me, bitches.
I told you had 3 days.
3 days. We're bulldozing it. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. There is one thing though, George, in all seriousness, I do agree with you. The residents, and not all of them, obviously, you know, but like if you're going to move into Disney's backyard, then you have to deal with the Disney stuff. Yes. Okay. This resort has been here. This park has been here since, well, not the resort, but the park has been here for 70 years. Nobody living in this area right now, or very few, were there before Disney. So if you're going to move into Disney's backyard, then I hope you like fireworks. Okay. Because you're going to get them every night.
Yeah.
I hope you like traffic because you can get it all the time, congestion. I mean, you're moving into look, Southern California is a big place. Orange County is a big place. There's a lot of places you can live, like Irvine, Santa Ana, Garden Grove, Huntington Beach, whatever, Newport, whatever. You don't have to move across the street from Disneyland, and if you do, understand that comes with certain negatives,
So to tap on your comment, if you're going to live in the vicinity of Disneyland and be close enough where, you got the fireworks, lights, all this stuff, these real estate agents that sell these properties around the resort, they should tell new homeowners, but new homeowners should have some type of clue, which most of them don't, signing a waiver saying, basically, if you want to move into this house, you're signing a waiver that's going to the city of Anaheim, basically saying, hey, I acknowledge I live next to a theme park. I accept all the noise, all the fireworks, everything. That way, we probably would have not had to have all these cancel meetings if the city of Anaheim and the real estate agents that sell homes and condos and whatever else around that area. I don't think we wouldn't have had all these community meetings. I really don't think so, because basically, like OG, you're saying, basically, you're accepting everything that comes with living next to Disneyland, and you just or don't move there.
Yeah, or don't move there. Exactly. It's like, this isn't the only place in California to live. It's actually very expensive because you're living right over here by the resort. So, yeah.
So
it doesn't make any sense.
Now, there are ordinances and kind of things that they have to follow with the guidelines moving over into the Simba lot, possibly with the Lilo and Stitch parking lot when they start expanding DCA and Disneyland. Now, if it comes to the Toy Story lot where they make a third gate, I'm assuming that they would have to have similar ordinances, right? Because even if they were to buy up just that one apartment complex, there's still more residential area run that they would still have to.
But see, I don't think they would have such a fight in their hands, because it's already been deemed by the city council of Anaheim that the Toy Story parking lot is designated and permitted for theme parks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like, would they have to still? I'm trying to think of, like, would they still have to strategize of like what goes in the park?
So
George,
they
would be able to do fireworks.
So from what I remember, I think outside of Disneyland, because DCA doesn't really do fireworks unless it's like some of the little stuff from like For the Color. But if we put a park here, and I'm sure my memory is correct, they can't do aerial fireworks. They can only do kind of like the small kind of castle like fireworks.
Pyro.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
A substitution that would be great for that? Drone shows.
Drones. Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, that would be great. But they have a Disney has a no-fly zone because of.
But is that true though? Because when I'm at the park, I see helicopters and planes flying over all the time.
Yeah, I know, that's true. I see that too all the time, and that's what I hear. I hear it's a no-fly zone, but then I see shit everywhere.
It's Kendrick.
You saw what?
It's Kendrick.
It's Kendrick. It's Kendrick. Yeah, and his helicopter landing, his special access into the park.
Oh man. So jumping now to Universal, I want to go to Mondo's page real quick because he was there today. Look at some of these pictures we're looking at here. George,
that's insane.
George, me and you are going on that, right?
Yes. I'm going opening day.
Oh,
hey, Ebba, your phone wouldn't. If your phone fell out on that one, it wouldn't. You would never gotten it back, bro.
Oh
no, not at all.
Yeah, I bet, dude, that was so crazy because like we went on. What's that thing called? The Griffin Hippogriff. Yeah, the Hippogriff thing over at Universal, and Ebba's phone falls out of his pocket, and he's like, oh crap, I lost my phone. We go back, and the Universal team member, she comes out, and she was super sweet. She was, let's be honest, she was sweet. She comes out with his phone in like a napkin, and she's like, "Here you go." like his phone like passed away or something.
Right.
She was so gingerly about it too. She was like, "Here you go. I'm so sorry for your loss."
Well, OG, you know what? If my phone fell off this ride, dude, my phone would have probably hit someone on the tram, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. I wonder what they're gonna do. There's gonna be lockers, I'm sure, because if anything fell out of your pocket and landed on the Skyway thing,
so it's gonna, from what I understand, from what I've talked with Wizard, because Wizard, absolute goat when it comes to theme park. It's gonna have lockers and it's gonna have metal detectors. So I'm guessing that you probably are going to put your stuff in the locker, and just before you enter the ride queue, you're going to go through the metal detector, because
they do that for the Incredible Hulk
and
Velocicoaster and Velocicoaster done in Islands of Adventure.
Yes, so that's probably what they're going to do.
We have a Hulk.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that story, OG? I'm actually surprised the cast member didn't say, we picked up your phone. We tried to call Harry on the phone to see if he can use some of his wand magic to put it back together, and we can't. So here it is in the napkin in a million pieces. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be everything. Like, cut the bullshit. I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of Harry Potter, we got Willy Wonka coming out saying,
"So you get nothing. You lose. So you get nothing."
There you go. You get nothing but a dead phone. That's all you get. It sucks.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir. Good day. Oh my god, that was crazy. I still can't get over that. That was wild, man.
No,
Universal's gangster with that. Like, they will stop the ride if they when you go up that hill and they see you have a phone. They get gangster with that. Like, they will stop it and they'll call you out over the speakers.
They will call you out right over the intercom.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
So I want the
you're sound. On mute. I think you're on mute, brother.
I'm on mute?
Yeah, you're back now. Yeah, you're back now.
Because it's the sound. For some reason it doesn't like it. But this is the Woody Woodpecker parking lot. There's a section of it right next to the Jurassic Park parking lot. And they're starting to cut down the trees. You can see worksite building, and they're getting prepared for that hotel.
Yeah, I thought this was this was actually just gonna be Lorax land with all the missing trees. But I guess not. It's a hotel. I was kidding. I'm playing with you. I was just playing with you. No, this is awesome. I'm really excited for this. I think it's a really, really smart idea for Universal to do this. Put this hotel at the entrance of their theme park and everything. It's kind of like that Disneyland Paris kind of approach to it. This is gonna be brilliant, and it's gonna be open for the Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, money in the bank, dude. Money in the bank.
It's going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be like almost like Universal Beijing. They have the same type of setup that we're getting here. The hotel is right in front. Literally, theme park guests leave their room, go to the lobby, and boom, they hit security right away. Kind of like what the Grand California is going into downtown Disney. Boom, you're right there. That's the setup they're going for. That is the going for. I wanted to ask you on I'm sure you guys have been hearing it nonstop with all the third-party shops and restaurants leaving Universal City Walk. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that, in my opinion, what they're trying to do, they're trying to bring more Universal-based restaurants, shops, experiences into the City Walk, kind of like what Orlando City Walk is doing. Do you think that's what they're doing here in Hollywood? Because they've been nonstop closing stuff like crazy.
Yeah, I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not as familiar with the City Walk stuff. Eva, have you heard much about this City Walk stuff? I know Wizard's been following it pretty closely, but I don't know what's going.
Yeah, I've heard.
Sorry.
Man.
Oh, look, we're talking about
that's really hitting the track switch.
Yeah, we're talking about Universal, and the mouse got mad at me. You know, my special access is getting revoked. Go ahead, Webba.
It's like, oh no,
Oh no.
no, yeah. So I have heard about this. It's very interesting. I'm really curious to see what like how it's gonna look when everything's finalized. I will say, however, that even currently, I really like City Walk. It's in my opinion, like compared to Downtown Disney, like I have like a love-hate thing with Downtown Disney. City Walk is just so much better. It is so much better. Like I like there, I could literally like hang out there like all day.
Yeah.
You know, like Downtown Disney, yeah, like maybe like for a few hours, but City Walk is banging, and especially at nighttime when like all the restaurants are open and everything. It's popping out there. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. I would like to see more. I mean, because they already have a lot of. Well, they have some IP stuff of Universal in there. You know, which I think is cool because that way, let's say if someone doesn't go to the park or they can't go to the park for whatever reason, they can still buy like some like Nintendo merch or like Harry Potter merch or whatever. But then they have like a lot of other cool like stuff. They have like if you like sports, they have a sports area. They have like the comic book section with all the nerd stuff. You know, they have a new Hello Kitty cafe, which is dope. So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what's coming, but I just heard like some new restaurants or shops were coming. But I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. I'm sure it'll be really cool, along with the new hotel that they're going to have, which is going to look awesome. So I'm really excited because I think this will be a lot more immersive, so to speak, as you're going to like towards the park. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, OG or George.
No, I was just agreeing with Webba. I agree. I think City Walk is a great spot. It's always been. It always felt more nightlife-y to me than Downtown Disney. You know.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
But you know what's funny though, so Wednesday I went to Universal in the morning and literally drove from Universal to Disney. Now that I have a pass for both, it's easier. And I could tell you straight on, I left Disney probably at like 7:30 at night, and Downtown Disney just seemed popping. Like, I mean, every restaurant was packed, even the new restaurants, Paseo, all that. And you know what's funny? I went into Ballast Point because that's just my spot. I love Ballast Point. It's a great spot. Microbrewery. It's just a good spot I like to eat at. And I asked one of the workers there, I said, you know, there's been rumblings, you know, out there, nothing confirmed, nothing concrete about you guys possibly getting, you know, leaving Downtown Disney. And he said, well, our contract ends this year. Disney hasn't approached us yet about renewing it. But, you know, me and him started kind of talking, and I said, well, if you really think about it, this location that you guys have, it's catering those Disney adults, you know, because it's a microbrewery. And it's like, how, you know, where's the closest microbrewery from there? I guess if you go into Fullerton, maybe Brea, there's some there. But you're already at the Disneyland Resort. It's like, you know, why not keep it there? So that's kind of what I'm feeling with City Walk. You know, it's so dead right now because just the nightlife just got killed. It did, because we don't have the security bubble that the Disneyland Resort has. So the Disneyland Resort, that, you know, Downtown Disney could be popping until 5 a.m. as far as I'm concerned. You know, Universal City Walk can't do that because they don't have that security bubble, and that's a problem. That's why they're doing all these changes to City Walk. So, you know, in a way, for right now, Downtown Disney has the advantage over City Walk.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, overall, I do prefer Disney. I've always said that, but I really do enjoy Universal. I think for me, I would agree with you, Webba. I think I enjoy as a shopping district nighttime thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm a City Walk guy.
Yeah, and also like I said too, not that downtown Disney doesn't have it, but just the amount of like, of course, City Walk's bigger, but just the amount of stuff they have in there. And like I said, for me, I'm not really like, if how should I put it? For a theme park, I personally would rather see like more park IP stuff or the studio IP stuff in the downtown, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, maybe some third party stuff, but I feel like with downtown Disney, it's a lot of third party different companies with some Disney stuff sprinkled in there. For me personally, I'd like to have more Disney kind of still be in that Disney bubble, because I feel like downtown Disney for me has this weird, like, weird bubble where it's like it's kind of Disney, but then it's like there's a lot of non-Disney stuff in there, and I kind of feel like for me it kind of breaks me out of that bubble, so to speak. Whereas with Universal, what they have in City Walk, it's more on Universal's radar, I guess you could say. It's more in line with them.
Yeah,
it's more edgy. So I like that, and when I'm in there, I feel like, okay, cool, this is the lead up to Universal Studios, right? I'm still kind of in this bubble, so to speak.
You know, I will say this. We were evacuated a few weeks ago for the LA fire, so I stayed in OC for the weekend, and I spent a lot of time at Disney those 2 days.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I think I was on the phone with you, Ebba, actually. I'm on the phone, and I'm walking through downtown Disney, right?
Sure.
And this really, like, pretty cute Latina girl comes up to me, and she's like, and she's like trying to signal me while I'm on the phone, and I'm like this, and she goes, "Your fly is down." I'm like,
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I thought I was getting recognized, you know? No, my fly was down. So
hey,
yeah.
Hey, OG, you know it? You know it? You should be like, it's down. Get started.
Oh man, dude.
If I had to put it in order for me, Disney Springs, Universal Hollywood City Walk, Universal Orlando City Walk, and then Downtown Disney.
Yeah,
that would be my order.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's funny about it is, I've been saying for the last probably good month, 2 months, you know, I've said it consistently on my live streams. Basically, I think what's going to happen, not guaranteed, but I think what's going to happen is they're trying to finish Epic Universe. Once Epic Universe opens, all the creative teams responsible for Epic Universe, responsible for Orlando City Walk, they're gonna fly back to the West Coast, and we're gonna see massive transformations, not only in the theme park but in City Walk as well. Like Wizard's saying, a lot of big stuff is coming.
Yep.
You know, stores, Universal owned. So I think for the longest time, Universal has been one of those theme parks that loves catering the third-party IPs, whether it's restaurants or even in the theme park. Like OG, we've talked about it many times, where they're renting out these IPs like Harry Potter, like Nintendo, you know, stuff like that inside the theme park. And, you know, they're starting to transition to be more Universal owned. Now, not saying that Harry Potter is still not Universal doesn't own them, but if Universal decides or Comcast decides to buy out Warner Brothers, then they will own them. So I kind of going in that direction as well. So, you know, it's something to watch. And the picture I have here, it's about the coaster, but getting back to City Walk, I think that's why they're closing so much, is start bringing in Universal IP based things. Like, for example, I've said numerous of times, I would love a Red Coconut Club to our City Walk, because just today, for prime example, at the one in Orlando at their City Walk, they're celebrating Mardi Gras. You know, they have all sorts of decor. They have a bar set up. They have drinks. They have food. They're celebrating with annual pass holders. They're always doing something, and it's nighttime. You know, and they have concerts in there, like small concerts, nothing humongous. You know, they have entertainment. You know, it's always catering to something. That's why I kind of we should get that here. That's what.
Sorry, I was to say, you brought up a few videos ago about the parking situation.
Yes.
With City Walk, and how if you're going to City Walk, because I think Downtown Disney does this, right, OG? That if you go there and you spend, if you go to a restaurant or whatever, you spend a certain amount, you get like 5 hours free or something like that. Yeah, at City Walk, there's no such thing, right?
So I stand corrected. Wizard did correct me a while back. AMC does validate, supposedly. Now, the other restaurants, I don't think they do. Because, OG, you and George don't know this, but when I had Webba on a few weeks ago, and we almost went 3 hours, just me and him, we could go 10 hours as far as I'm concerned.
Webba, you ready? You ready for 10 hours, bro? Let's do it. Let's do it.
10 hours, man.
Exactly. Let's do it.
We were talking because I went to Eve to celebrate here, and I met up with Mondo. Well, one of the first things showing up to the parking structure, it was around like 7:20 p.m. And the team member said, "Oh, well, that's great. You have a platinum pass, but it's past 6 o'clock." And I'm like, wait a second. I have the platinum pass. It's supposed to give me free parking because the event for Eve is private. So what I mean by private, it's a paid event. It's not something just, everyone can go to. It's a paid event. And because I showed up after 6 p.m., I had to pay that $35. There was no discount, no nothing. So I talked to some cast members, or I keep calling them cast members, team members at guest relations. And I said, well, what the heck's going on? Why am I paying this? So, and Wizard again just corrected me, not during special events. I think that's just one of the additives to the rules that they have for the parking situation, alongside validating for all these restaurants and shops, especially for the restaurants, validating or allowing the platinum pass holders to get in no matter what time they show up. Yeah. I think they need to change that. I really honestly think that's why I kind of feel like City Walk struggles so much, because it makes perfect sense. It's like, why would you pay $35 to park? And if you have a family of 4 and you dine at any one of these restaurants, whether it's Twosome, Vivo, Anahino's, Bubba Gump, you're going to spend a good $100 to $200 on dinner. Now, let's say after that, your kids want to get like a merchandise or, candy or whatever. That's another $50 to $100. So by the time you're done, you're spending anywhere from $500 to $700 for one night, because of what started off as a great night became a nightmare as soon as they had to pay that parking and didn't get validated for it.
Now I want to bring up a big shout out to Universal High, by the way. Yeah, big shout out to Universal High. It's good to see you, brother. He says here, hopefully we can walk around with drinks in City Walk and into the park once the new security opens. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be very, very cool.
Yeah, I agree with that, because again, the security hubs will be in place. So that means that basically you can go in between the theme park and walk without having to worry about going through security, because you're already in the security bubble. So you won't have to worry about that. So, that's something I really hope to God, again, with policies they fix. So we'll have to wait and see. But go ahead. No,
yeah, I was just agreeing with you. We'll see. Yeah, shout out to Universal High, and And Wizard is killing it in the chat. He's got all kinds of news. Halal guys, that's interesting. Is coming also, I guess, to
Where you see
City Walk.
who posted?
You can scroll up a little bit. He says Slice House Pizza Place and Halal guys are coming as well. So interesting. Yeah,
Right here? No, wait.
it's up a little bit. Yeah, it was like at 8:45 ish.
Yeah, hold on. God, Wizard went. He went Wizard on the keyboard. Damn. Holy crap.
He's dropping
People
the
are-
heat.
Yeah, he's like, hey, listen, I would tell you every single fact. You guys better listen to me, all right?
You know, Wizard's going big. He's going big.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's just it's hopefully something. Hopefully something they can correct. It wouldn't take much to fix this. It's an infrastructure issue. It's something that could be changed behind the scenes. It's not something that would be drastic. So,
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But again, shout out to Theme Park Wizard. He posted this on X the other day. This is about the Fast and Furious coaster. He basically listed all the things that are happening this month, next month, and the following months. Basically, if you look down the list, earthwork and grading, building steel erection, George, special access right there, erection. Installing rooftop, equipment on the show. And the biggest one that got me, the biggest one is this right here, because many of us have seen this, the tower crane that you can see from the freeways, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
This month or next month, that's going to be dismantled. So with that being dismantled, we're getting close, because a lot of people are saying we could see ride testing happen either in the middle of the summer or at the end of this summer.
Wow.
I just find it very interesting of how Universal found my high school name, Sandwall Steel Erection. Like, I don't know how they found it.
Well, I was going to ask you actually. Are you sure it was Soundwall Steel Erection or was it Tower Crane?
Yeah. Could be either one. Could be either one.
That wasn't until college.
College.
God.
Oh man, are you high tea, George? You got high tea, bro.
Oh, he had. I know he somewhere where he drank. He came on. So,
It's hilarious.
oh my
It
god!
says, oh, you know what? We got Robert Sprite here asking for a whistle. Hey, Robert, I don't have a whistle, but I got the next best thing.
Nothing can stop us now.
There we go. A little runaway railway for you.
Oh gosh, that is funny. Okay, so Wizard again. Shout out to him. He's fast on that damn keyboard. Damn, put that on or something. He says Sparky's will be Slice House. That's interesting.
Yes. And Wizard is asking for something. Go ahead to his next comment.
Okay.
Oh no! I must have hit that track switch.
There it is. That's for you, Wizard.
Absolutely. I want to ask you guys too, because with the news coming from KTLA 5 breaking about Universal building at least one. I think they confirmed the hotel that's being built in front of the park. I don't know if they confirmed the other hotel, but don't forget Universal hasn't even confirmed this on their end, but
Right.
KTLA 5 did. So KTLA 5, they announced that Hilton, which is literally not even 50 yards away, they're building another tower to their location to compete with the new hotels coming from Universal. And Wizard again with the no permits for the second hotel yet, so that's understandable.
So I'm surprised. I'm sorry not to cut you off, Conductor, but that's crazy, right? Like Hilton is going all in on this.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Universal, I would actually talk to Hilton and see if they can buy them out, and Universal do what they want with that land. I don't know. I mean, it could be hard to do. I'm not really sure, but I mean, it's close enough that Universal could mess with that land. You know, they could build their own hotel. They can do a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Webba.
Yeah, it's a technology. Or if they couldn't, maybe they can do like a partnership, kind of or something where they get half the sales, or like, hey, if you guys have people staying to come to our park, we give you guys this or whatever, some kind of partnership deal that they can probably do. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Universal and Hilton were fighting over each other's towers. Hey,
Wow.
Webba and George were fighting over each other's towers in George's Dream too. That was pretty funny.
You have lightsaber.
I don't have that one anymore. No, I don't have that drop.
I was playing with George's Towers. I was playing with George's Towers wrecking ball.
Oh gosh, yeah, exactly. Wizard here says, but yeah, they've been fighting with each other over their hotel tower since 2018. That's interesting. Yeah, Wizard. See what I'm saying? There's something there with that. I really hope they can come to some deal and Universal can just buy it out. But that's the thing, though. Hilton knows it's going to be a moneymaker because Universal is getting very, very bullish, very aggressive with Hollywood, with their Hollywood property. They're expanding. They're doing all kinds of stuff, and Hilton sees that and they want in on that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if Universal can swing it, if they can get that hotel, oh man, that'd be golden.
Well, see, I kind of feel Universal has the advantage. And the reason why I say that is because these two hotels that are proposed to come, they're going to be run by Universal in general, which means they will have better opportunity to allow better vacation packages to Universal guests and better benefits for annual pass holders as well, which the Hilton, if you go there, and I've been there and I've been going there since 2017 for HHN, they do have some vacation packages. I just kind of feel with the Universal hotels, they'll have a better advantage on some like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything you guys want to add to that before we jump in the FanFest nights?
Oh no, I'm ready to talk FanFest nights. I'm a big Back to the Future guy. Let's do it.
I'm ready. Okay, so let me go to here. Okay, FanFest nights. So apparently, from what I heard, Universal on, I think it was Reddit, because I follow them on Reddit, they said that you will be able to dress up for these events. And I found out something else interesting as well, because when I was at the park Wednesday morning filming all these updates and taking pictures of the coaster, all this stuff, and Wizard, again, fire on that chat. Definitely, if you want to book tickets to for FanFest nights, he does offer that through his advisory wizard powers. But you could dress up as for cosplay and all that. But I found out that they're going the route of HHN, so the ticket base and also the event guide. So they're going to have all these IPs on multiple nights. It's not like, which I thought, because again, I didn't get clear information. I was hit like a missile with this information as I'm trying to film and do all this stuff at Universal. I thought, okay, well, you could buy a ticket for this IP, then buy a different ticket for this IP, and so on and so on.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, same here.
So I'm kind of glad in a way they're putting all these IPs in the one night, just like HHN. I'm really glad they're doing that. So I don't have to worry about spending $600 to experience all of it. You know what I mean?
Well, and shout out to Universal too for allowing costumes, because I don't think Disney allows adults to dress up in the parks, if I'm not mistaken.
That's interesting.
Not unless. Well, I mean, for events, like you can kind of dress up like for 90s night, for Sweetheart night. You can kind of.
But I mean, like those are just like regular clothes. Like you can't come in a costume or anything like that.
Well, my coworker the year before last year, she and her fiance went to Oogie Boogie Bash and they dressed up as, Rapunzel and what's his name? Yeah, him. Yeah, Flynn Rider. And
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. And there was no problem with them doing that. I think the issue Disney has is they don't want you like taking autographs and like pictures with people and stuff like that because you're not the character, you know. So I think you still can, but you just can't take pictures and do autographs with people. As far as I know, that's
because as far as I know too, like even for like 90s night and Sweethearts night, I'm not just talking about normal clothes. Like there's people that literally deck themselves out. Like they dress up like Powerline. Like they'll do the hair, they'll do the full outfit, they'll do the stuff. But I do like how you can have that option with these kind of events, because on a regular park day, no, you can't do that.
I think the same guidelines are going to be as HHN though. You dress up, but if you have any like props with your costume that could obviously be used as a weapon, they won't allow that. They won't allow you to, wear a mask or anything like that. Now, maybe face paint, if it's appropriate, they'll allow that. But, they're going to have the same guidelines as if this was HHN. So nothing really changes to a point on that aspect. So I want to read this. Basically, this is for Back to the Future. It says, where we're going, we don't need imagination. Take the Universal Fan Tram Back to the Future and enter Hill Valley in the ultimate time traveling adventure. Check out the authentic Courthouse Square from the film and meet your favorite character like Doc Brown and Marty McFly along the way. Time travel to the real Courthouse Square. Travel back to Hill Valley in 1955, just like I did. Reveal icon film moments from Back to the Future as Courthouse Square come to life. Take a photo in your cosplay with Epstein and iconic time machine. Experience the enchanted under the sea song. Why does that sound familiar? That sounds like Mermaid or Little Mermaid or some when I read that. Along with a recreation of the Clock Tower lightning strike that sends to the dude. If they do that properly, I'm telling you that's just gonna etch Universal like that.
Okay,
not to mention, it's literally where they actually film.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. No, exactly. And our buddy Slimer in the DMs today was talking. We were all talking about. He made a great point, dude. And shout out to Slimer. But like, he was saying that Universal is leaning more and more into this IP.
Yes.
Into this Back to the Future IP. I'm telling you, if the Back to the Future stuff at this Fan Fest is a huge hit, which I know it will be. This sounds incredible. Don't be surprised if we get another Back to the Future attraction. Now, I'm not saying the old one will come back. I don't want the old one to come back. I want Universal 2025 to build a badass Back to the Future attraction. You know what I'm saying? And I think they can. And I think that if this franchise proves to be popular with these events, there's a chance we could get it. I mean, that would be insane, man. I'm telling you, I am a huge fan of the Universal IP. Like the old school Universal IP. I love this stuff, like the Back to the Futures, the ETs. This is where it's at. If they start bringing this stuff back, dude.
And not to mention, with having this IP at FanFest, which is a brand new event to Universal Hollywood, as you can see on the picture here, they are celebrating 40 years. The 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. How cool would it be? And I'm sure, it may or may not happen. How cool would it be to have some of the original cast there the first night of the event?
Oh, it'd be amazing.
How cool would that be? Like,
it'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome, dude.
I don't want them to be there the first night. I want them to be there the whole weekend, so that way I could have the opportunity to see them. Awesome.
That sounds fun. Yeah, so it's gonna be in the it's gonna be oh, I just saw your post, OG. I want a hoverboard so bad.
Oh man, when I was a kid, that was like the craziest thing.
Really?
Oh, I used to, yeah, man. I saw that movie in theaters. That blew my mind. The hoverboard stuff blew my mind. I agree. Yeah, Dragon Blood, they got to sell hoverboards.
Oh heck yeah, bro!
Come on,
Man, here's the scene. Hoverboards are cool and all, but for someone who hates the cold and hates getting wet, I want that jacket that dries.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
yeah, man.
no,
Your jacket is now dry.
Oscar best, but I'm sure you could pull that off.
Look at Giant Peter being an entrepreneur. I will buy 5 hoverboards. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought he was gonna buy 5 and sell them. I'm like, look at him making that money. No, but yeah, I seriously, yeah, I'll buy a few too, Peter. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, I want to ask you guys because they way back in the day, and shout out to you because he seems to find all these old clips and post them on X about the old days, the old school days of Universal Hollywood. And I know they had back in the day on the studio tour, they had Battlestar Galactica, which I don't even remember that. I don't remember them having any Star Trek type theme element at Universal. Did they ever have that?
No.
I don't remember.
They had in Las Vegas. I went to actually I have a really funny story about Las Vegas.
Sure.
The Las Vegas Hilton, which I won't say here on this channel, but maybe for the members over on my channel. But Las Vegas Hilton, me and my buddy Alan, we were down there for the sports awards. He was a big sports guy, and I couldn't care less, but I went there for Vegas basically. But we were staying at the Las Vegas Hilton, and back then they used to have a Star Trek attraction in that hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the only place that I've ever known any kind of play like theme parky kind of thing or whatever to have a Star Trek attraction. I don't think Universal ever did, but I could be mistaken. Wizard, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But I know Las Vegas Hilton had it, and they got rid of it.
Yeah,
I heard it was really cool though.
I did too. We never did it. We never did it. My buddy was too busy talking to this blonde Latina named Norma Jean, and we long story, bro. Long story. Anyway. Yeah, but yeah, this is awesome, dude.
Yeah. So this one, Star Trek, it's supposed to take place in I think Soundstage 15, which is I believe behind Transformers, or literally where they had Texas Chainsaw Massacre last year for HHN. It's the soundstage literally across from the entrance of that house. But this is going to be in the soundstage. It's going to be a walkthrough. What do you guys think about that? Where you're walking through, and I think they're going to have the whole bridge and everything. You could sit, photo ops, all that stuff. What do you guys think about that?
That, okay, let me be the first to say. My dad is a Star Trek fan. I am not a Star Trek fan. Never been a Star Trek fan. However, I do really appreciate that, and we'll I know we're gonna go through all the different IPs here, but I think this is really cool that Universal is bringing Star Trek, like a Star Trek area.
Sure.
Because here's the thing, sci-fi is a genre that's very hard to do, and people love sci-fi. And your two biggest ones, right? Star Wars, which is sci-fi fantasy, but then you got Star Trek, which is sci-fi, right? And they're both big. They both have big fandoms. And with Universal going to have the Star Trek thing in here, I think it's really great. And for the picture, if it looks like that looks really awesome. Someone who's not a fan of it would still like to go there and check it out.
Yeah. So I actually got corrected. Now it's Giant Peter show's turn. I guess Wizard took a break. His fingers were on fire. He said actually where the Walking Dead attraction was, that's where this is going to be. So actually in Soundstage 15, it's going to be Dungeons and Dragons, which is going to be another walkthrough attraction.
Absolutely. That's cool.
Absolutely.
So let me go through. Speak of the devil, Dungeons and Dragons. So I never played this, I don't know if any of you have.
Yeah, as a kid, I did because I mean, I grew up in the '80s, so yeah, it was big when I was a kid, but it's been a long time for me.
Yeah, mine was Pokemon when I was growing up.
That was mine.
Because you guys are
The only thing that I came relatively close to this was putting my dragon in a dungeon. That was
Dragon. Now, you guys were '90s babies, so you guys grew up on Pokemon and stuff, you know.
Pokemon, and then like on the end cap, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was just gonna say that too, but some of this looks pretty awesome. I'm really look at that,
Dude, that's dope.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
sick. The red drink looks pretty sick, and then I like the boba and that green one. It looks good, really good.
Oh yeah, no,
What's the STD on a plate? Like, what is that?
I don't know.
I think that George is a meatball, dude.
Yeah, that's George's meatball.
Wait, it actually says fireball dirt, so that actually makes sense.
Okay.
Interesting.
Scrumptious George, you ready?
Yeah,
bring the Pepto-Bismol.
exactly. Little shot glass there.
One Piece. Shout out to our buddy Lucas Kim.
Oh,
He likes One Piece, and it's a huge property, massive. I mean, the Netflix thing, the live action thing they did a few years ago, or a couple years ago now, I think it was.
Yeah.
Did really, really well. So.
Oh, absolutely. And just I don't think they. Oh, okay. So they actually don't have a preview of this. So this one seems to be kind of hidden behind the curtain, as I say, because this is usually like the other ones had like a preview of what to expect. This one didn't have it. That's interesting.
Yeah, I will say, Conductor, though, I find it really cool that Universal is bringing it in. Now, I will say I do like anime. I'm not really into One Piece, but I do like the fact that Universal is bringing in a anime franchise to this.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool because really, if you look at it, they're touching all parts of like fandom here. You got the sci-fi fandom, you got the Universal Back to the Future fandom, you got the gaming nerds D&D fandom, you got the anime fandom, right? Yeah. All in an event at a theme park, dude. Like, tell me that's not cool. And now not cool, that's also very smart, I think, too.
Well,
no,
and I
it is.
remember
Absolutely.
taking,
Oh, go ahead.
I remember taking my son down to Universal Orlando, and he's a huge Demon Slayer fan.
Ooh,
like that's like one of his favorite shows ever, and the amount of merch that was out on the City Walk was just astounding of how much. Like, they didn't even have anything in the parks, but just in City Walk, just to incorporate all the Demon Slayer merch. I mean, he was in heaven. So I could definitely see Universal going that route. I know a lot of people are saying, well, what if Disney were to go that route of using like anime and what have you? I mean, they could. I mean, Disney could do anything. I just feel like it's more in the realm of Universal.
It is, George. I agree with you, because if you watch any kind of anime, really, you'll notice that a lot of anime, they tend to over exaggerate certain body parts. And there's also, like, for example, Demon Slayer, there's a lot of violence in it. Yeah. That's not very Disney family friendly, right? So with so I think like they would have to, if they were to choose an anime, it has to be not only popular but more family friendly PG. You can't be putting Demon Slayer in there, or like Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that, or Attack on Titan. You could not put those in like a Disney fan event at a park.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting because both of those IPs coming to FanFest nights, I did hear, I don't know how much validity it has. Universal Japan is collaborating on those two IPs for FanFest nights. So it's going to be good. Because it's representing their country in a way.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
Full effort's going to be put into those. And shout out to Giant Peter Show. He said One Piece is going to be the opening ceremony of FanFest nights, which I hope is true, because that would be a great introduction to the start of the event if that's the case.
That's
And-
awesome. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And then Super Nintendo World. The reason I'm excited for this, like we talked about early on, I felt that Universal Hollywood has been the test dummy when it comes to theme park lands, experiences. We're always shafted because we are small.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're getting a Yoshi meet and greet.
Man, dude, Conductor, I'm telling you, man. Here's the I love Nintendo, right? I love gaming. You know, shout out to Mr. Seymour Duck. He loves Nintendo as well. Now, I'll tell you this: as far as Super Nintendo World at Universal, I'm going to be honest. Aesthetically and theming, it's very spot on, right? But in terms of immersion, like just when you're standing in the land, it's not very immersive. I walk in there, I feel like I'm in a square box.
Yeah.
It's everything's too close. It's too packed together.
Yeah.
Now I know that they have Toad, Princess Peach, Mario, and Luigi as meet and greets.
Yes.
And here's the thing: we don't have the Yoshi People Mover ride. If we get a Yoshi meet and greet, and I freaking love Yoshi or the Yoshi, species, right? They're adorable.
Yeah.
So if we get Yoshi meet and greet, that is gonna be fire, dude.
Absolutely. George, what do you think about it?
Yeah, for me, using these fan fests is like another kind of portal, no pun intended, to allow gradually. Sometimes the small things count more than adding a brand new attraction or an expansion of a land. So just adding Yoshi into the meet and greet with Mario and Luigi already. They did Toad, so just kind of like having them all together, and they're showcasing rather than just picking a day of saying, okay, this is the day that Yoshi is going to make his grand reveal. They're doing it with the fan fest. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no, you go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'm gonna look up on YouTube while we're talking.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, George, do you think that these fan, or Conductor, you too, that these fan events could also be kind of a testing ground for a future idea of other franchises Universal might want to implement into the parks?
Absolutely. And I think that goes back to what Slimer was saying in the DMs. I feel like this is the testing grounds, especially for Back to the Future, because we're seeing a lot of Back to the Future, like with the fan events, with the merchandise. I really think that they're going to bring back to the Future in a big way. But also, as you said, Ebba, kind of you take these like different franchises that are kind of like out of the box that you don't really think about, like with One Piece and Dungeons and Dragons. Like, okay, well, how does this fit into the realm of a Universal theme park? And I think honestly, even though this is a fan event that people can enjoy, it's also one big giant survey, if you will. And Universal is going to capitalize on that and see what works and what doesn't. And that also can lead into more fan fests in the years to come, but with different IP to kind of see like what else would fit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is such a cool, when Universal first announced this, I was like, this is awesome. And here's the thing, I thought it was awesome, even just if it was separate ticket events for each IP, knowing that you get a ticket and it's all these IPs, like franchises in one event, that's even better. And I hope for that. And here's the thing with the Yoshi thing. I really hope I see, or not but we see like a little like Easter egg of like Yoshi's story in there somewhere, because like that was the big Yoshi game on Nintendo 64. Sure. So I think that'd be cool if we had like Yarn Yoshi or whatever the game was called. But yeah, that'd be cool. I love Yoshi, or the Yoshi species, right? You got green, pink, blue, red, yellow, white, black. You got all the Yoshi colors, all the Yoshis. They're adorable. If they were real, I would have one as a pet. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, this is awesome, and I think that if Disney were to do this, they would have to pick again IPs that are more family friendly like Nintendo. They couldn't do an anime where there's like big knockers here and like You know, just blood everywhere and scary demon and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, right? So, but I want to ask you guys though.
Hey, come on, I vote for that. Tits and blood everywhere.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I know it's perfect, right? It's great. So I want to ask you guys real quick.
Sure.
Do you think that this is kind of Universal's response or whatever to Disney's nighttime after dark events?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. They're trying to cash in on it.
Yeah.
And this is a good response.
Yeah.
This is actually a really good response.
Because, you know, out of all these IPs, don't get me wrong, the anime IPs are amazing. And OG, while you actually stepped out, we were talking about it. And I was saying that basically the two anime IPs that are coming to FanFest nights, the Universal Japan and the Japan companies that are responsible for these two animes coming for FanFest nights, they are collaborating with Universal Hollywood. So you know it's going to be amazing.
And I was just I just got a friendly reminder that the Universal Fan Fest tickets went on sale the same day that Star Wars Night tickets.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's not a coincidence, because why not? You know, a event that is basically that's never been done before at Universal Hollywood, and then you got Star Wars, which is always popular. You know, why not? That's not a coincidence that they dropped at the same time. Yeah. And from what I've seen, tickets for I think the first month or the first weekend or first couple weeks, they're already sold out. They're gone. And I can actually click on it, actually, tell you guys, because I haven't looked at the passes myself.
The last that I saw, the first two nights was completely sold out the day of the tickets went on sale. Now, I don't know what the update is now, but
I'm going to look right now. So, I don't know. Should I do general admission or do the ultimate fandom pass? Just to kind of reference.
Yeah, you could do the.
Okay, I'm going to just to take a look. So the fandom pass, I'm assuming, gives you everything. So that's still available. You know, that's still available. I wonder if it was general admission. Let me go back real quick and see if it was general admission, maybe, because I'm pretty damn sure it was general admission. It had to have been. No? I wonder if they refreshed tickets, because it almost doesn't seem like, you know, it almost doesn't seem like they're sold out anymore. It seems like they're, you know, replenished. That's weird. Yeah, maybe they replenished it. But, you know, I wanted to ask you guys, with and Webba made a good point with all this happening with all these IPs. Do you think this is a gateway to kind of test the waters to see if bringing one of these IPs to the parks?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said earlier, with Back to the Future, I think Slimer, our buddy Slimer, is right on that.
Yeah,
they're testing the waters. Absolutely, they're testing the waters. If there's a huge reaction, a huge response to this Back to the Future stuff,
oh god,
you're gonna see them. You're gonna see a Back to the Future attraction. Universal is very good at listening to their fans.
Yes, and
you know, so
I feel Disney's starting to get that way.
Yeah.
Maybe they're starting to lean that way, because, you know, again, Bob Iger, his contract's over in 26, and you got a new CEO coming in, or possibly two new CEOs coming in as a collab CEO spot. And I kind of feel, again, with the new CEO coming in for Walt Disney World, or just the Walt Disney Company in general, I kind of feel that, again, that would be a huge win if they dedicated and they came out and said, hey, you know what? We're gonna focus also on listening more to our fans. I think if they made a public speech like that, because a lot of people, especially when they start dipping their foot into politics and getting getting in a fight with Ron DeSantis in Florida and all that nonsense, a lot of people got upset, and I've seen it, and it's just, and they don't. I wouldn't say they don't have faith in the Walt Disney Company. They just don't have faith in Josh D'Amaro. I could be wrong on that, but Josh D'Amaro has been criticized nonstop for years.
Yeah, Josh has been very disappointing, I think. He's a very charismatic guy. Everyone thinks he's very handsome. I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, but in terms of how he's run the parks division, I think it's been very mid at best. You know what I'm saying? He has not done a great job, but I am not afraid to give him credit where credit is due. I think he absolutely delivered at the D23 fan event. I think he gave all the goodies and the red meat to the fans that night that we needed. Yes. Now he has to deliver, though. Now he has to actually deliver on these promises. But by and large, he hasn't really done a whole lot with the parks.
No.
I mean, can we name one big thing that he's opened? I mean,
No.
I can't think of anything under Josh D'Amaro's watch, like on his watch. I think he's been really lackluster, and that's why I really don't want him to become the CEO. I really, really don't. Disney is in a precarious position right now with the studio stuff. I've said this on my channel. Disney's in a very precarious position right now with the studio stuff, and the last thing we need is a theme park person running all of Disney during the seismic shift with streaming and all this stuff, and he doesn't know what to do. And this is not the time to be testing the waters with a theme park person running the company. So, I think he's an okay guy. I have nothing against him as a person. I would love to sit down and have a drink with him. He seems like a fun dude, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in terms of like him running like Disney, in terms of what he's done so far with the parks, I think it's been very underwhelming. Well, and everyone used to blame Chapek. Chapek's long gone. So who are we blaming now? Exactly. I mean, D'Amaro is still there years after Chapek left, and the reservations are still not gone. Are they fandom?
Yeah.
Well, gee, and to your point, this is why it was a problem for Chapek not being like the person of show and people person, because him pissing the fandom off, everybody attacked him. Well, if you're someone like Daddy Josh, who is very like, he's got the looks, he's got the charisma, he can smooth his way into things, right?
Yeah.
No one's gonna say anything to you, right?
No.
Yeah. So
exactly.
So that's what you're like. That's what the point from what I was trying to make. What you were saying is like that. Until someone is in a way where the public sees them in a negative light. Yeah, like Chapek, they're going to get all the blame.
Yeah. All the blame. And it's funny. It's crazy how looks and charisma make all the difference in the world. Because I don't think there's that much space between D'Amaro and Chapek. I really don't. I think they agreed far more than fans want to believe. Because remember, one of Chapek's first decisions as CEO was promoting Josh.
Yes.
If Josh was this big time creative, he understands Disney, yada, 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 then why did Chapek love him so much from the get-go? Right. But the thing is that Chapek isn't a really handsome guy. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he got a little, he got some sexy points with the beard. He did. He looked a little better with the beard, but overall, he's not a great looking dude. He doesn't have any charisma at all.
I think it's more so just his demeanor to talk to people.
Right. Well, his lack of charisma.
Like he was very awkward. Yeah. He had to have a teleprompter for everything.
Right.
Like, where at least with Josh, like one way, whether someone's good looking or not, like D'Amaro can still schmooze a crowd.
Yes.
Whether he looked like Josh, when I say this, I'm not saying you look like, I'm just saying he could look like a troll. He doesn't, but he could look like a troll, but because of his personality, he could win. He could sell a
snowman
bow tie to a bow tie salesman.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I think Webber, you had thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. It's but yeah, and also too, the way he, like what George was saying, the way he talked, like the charisma, the attitude, the demeanor he had, right? Yeah. It always felt like at least for me, it always felt like, so this was what's happening. Sorry, but kind of not, so we're going with this, cutting that, cutting this, raising prices, don't like it. That's how that's kind of attitude I got from him, and I'm not saying that he was doing that on purpose, but I think just him as naturally as a person, he just probably just is kind of awkward with conversation and people, and he doesn't know how to put on the show, so to speak.
No, you're right.
No,
you're absolutely right. He's an Excel. Chapek was an Excel spreadsheet kind of guy.
Yeah.
Through and through.
And the kind of, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but when Chapek was the CEO, I kind of feel that he got thrown into the mix, because he had to deal with the park, deal with COVID, he had to deal with now these stupid, reservations that finally Walt Disney World got rid of, but the Disneyland Resort has not. I kind of felt that he was just basically the face of the company, but all the decision making was behind the scenes between the board and Bob Iger in the background. And anytime something went wrong, since Chapek was the face of the company, he got blamed for it.
Well, and that's the thing. And to give Chapek credit here is he got, like, Bob Iger literally just threw his ass in, like, at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, pretty much. Like, okay, here, you're your CEO, now take care of it, right? And it's like, I think even me, I think I would kind of freak out and be like, okay, I got this entire company, studio, parks, cruise line, ABD, right? All this stuff you got to worry about. Your parks are shut down. You have the 6 foot feet rule thing. A lot of businesses are closing down. You got to fire people. You're losing money. How do you handle this, right? And I feel like there was no proper training manual for Chapek coming into this, and like Bob just wanted to get the hell out of there and just like, okay, Chapek, you good? Okay, see ya. But then at the same time, blaming him for everything, which again, yes, Chapek is CEO. He's the one running the ship, but Papa Iger's still in the background, like making snarky comments and stuff like that. It's like, dude, you put him there. There.
No, you're right. Papa Iger. I like that name. That's really good. Papa Iger. He was taking shots. He kind of lit the fire, so to speak, for the whole DeSantis drama, because remember Bob Iger tweeted about how he disagreed with Chapek, right? Yeah. So he was like instigating a little bit of that drama. Look, I'm not one of these Bob Iger haters. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that don't like this guy for various reasons. I think by and large, we did a whole show on Bob Iger on my channel the other day, but I think by and large, Bob Iger has been a very, very good CEO by and large. But there have been elements of his tenure that have not been so great. The Chapek stuff with the pandy and all that stuff was a freaking disaster. Yeah, it was so bad he had to come back and fix it. Now he better get it right this time. You got one more shot, Bob. I mean, you can't come back again a third, But it's like, this is the thing. It's like this Chapek thing was a total mess for him. Yeah. But in terms of Daddy Josh, though, it's just, I don't know, man. I haven't been impressed with anything he's done. He feels, in my opinion, like a nice guy, a charismatic guy, but a little too smooth almost. Like, I feel like he's lying to me. Like, I don't know.
He looks.
I don't know. Yeah, not impressed.
To be honest with you, George, and I'm sorry. To be honest with you, the only way I could see as a CEO of the Walt Disney Company is if he has a co-CEO with him. That way, there's some type of balance. So if he screws up, at least there's there's another individual that can try to fix it. Now I agree with you. If he's going to go solo as the CEO, I totally 100% agree with you. We don't need another Chapek in there right now. We don't. With the parks expanding, you got Universal expanding with Epic Universe, everything they're doing in Hollywood, the international parks, you got other theme parks, and then everything they announced at D23. We need Damaro being a CEO and kind of just like, freaking out. Like OG said, he's a nice guy. He looks the part. Now, mentally, I don't think so. I really don't, unless he has that co-CEO situation where the Walt Disney Company started with Roy and Walt. That's the only way I see that happening. Literally.
Well, let me put it to you this way: even if it wasn't Daddy Josh up on, to be the next one up in line,
Yeah.
personally, I would still want the Walt Disney Company to be a dual CEO or CEO and president. Either way, I would still want to see a dual leadership running this company, because this company is massive, and it's always run really well when you had two people at the helm.
It was built on that with Walter Roy. It was built on that, so it makes sense.
I want to pick your brain just for a minute. What do you guys think about the whole change with the Disneyland Resort and Ken Potrock getting a new position? Do you think it's a higher position, which could bump Josh D'Amaro up even higher, or do you think they're putting Ken Potrock in? I think it was you, OG, on one of your videos. You said he was gonna possibly go back to his old position, which was, what was it, the DVC stuff, or was it the hotels or the resorts? Or the cruise lines. I forgot.
Oh, well, basically what happened was Ken Potrock is moving into a new position, a newly created position.
Sure.
I think it's called Disney Signature Events or something like that, where he oversees Disney's involvement with like sports events and the Olympics and things like that. So to answer your question, Conductor, I think that yes, this was a promotion for Ken Potrock. I think Disney, and George, you brought this up, I think it was a good point. Disney saw how well Potrock handled the negotiations or the situation with Disneyland Forward, how he handled the, the government, the local government essentially, and getting that whole thing through the pipeline. And now they're promoting him to kind of run like these sports events and the Olympics, where you're dealing with a lot of heads of state, things like that. So this is definitely a promotion for him, But what's interesting though is when it comes to Josh, why is Josh D'Amaro making these moves now? It's for one of two reasons. Number one, he feels like he's losing the CEO race, and he feels like he has to make a move to impress the CEO succession board.
Yeah.
Or number two, he feels like it has the CEO position in the bag, and he's restructuring the experiences division so it's strong when he inevitably moves up the corporate ladder. It's one of those two things, in my opinion. Either he's already got the job, he knows it, and he's trying to restructure it so when he leaves, it's in good hands, or he doesn't think he has it and he's panicking and he's trying to make moves to look good for the succession board. It's one of those two things, in my opinion. But there is definitely something afoot. There's definitely smoke here for sure, because he's doing it right now, right in the middle of when they're trying to figure out who the CEO is going to be. Exactly. And he's like the top one of the top three people that's being considered. So
George, what do you think about that with Potrock getting the promotion, and basically what OG was saying about Josh D'Amaro and what he's trying to do?
Yeah, we had this conversation again with a previous video on Orange Grove 55, and everything OG said was accurate in my eyes, because I see Ken Potrock moving up the ladder, because a lot of people saying, oh, it's demoting because you're only looking at it in a small kind of bubble of just Ken Potrock being involved with Disney. Well, now he's going basically kind of international, in a sense that he's dealing with major sports events and the Olympics and American history kind of event type of thing. So to me, that is a step up the ladder. That's not a step down. Secondly, I do agree with OG for D'Amaro's move on all this shakeup. It is either one or the other. He's either scared that he's fallen behind and he's trying to make moves to impress Iger and impress the board and what have you, or he knows he has it, which I don't see how he can, because I just don't see the board going for another parks person.
It would be
with Chapek. So in my mind, I'm leaning more towards the fact that he knows he's fallen behind, and he's trying to impress by making these decisions. However, that's still a plus for Disney, because the person that, and I forget his name, that's replacing Ken, worked in signature entertainment with the Disney Cruise Line, with Adventures by Disney, with
Sure.
Alani, with DVC. So this particular person is heavily involved with signature experiences and signature ways of how to upscale things. So to put that back into the parks, that is a huge game changer. And honestly, if Josh was really trying to get attention from Iger and the board, that move alone definitely probably got eyes looking.
The last time we had a cruise person or a person with that was heavily involved in the cruise line, and I could be mistaken on this, but I believe the last time we had someone heavily involved with cruises that moved into the position of Disneyland Resort president, it was Matt Weemay, which was in 2005. And he was, or 2005 or 2006, I believe. I'm not really sure exactly the date. It was in and around there because it was for Disneyland's 50th anniversary. It might have been, it was either 2004, 2005-ish, I think. But anyway, regardless, Matt Weemay was very popular. Matt Weemay made a lot of good changes and did a lot of good things. So the cruise line people really do understand this brand. They really do understand that Disney difference. And you see it with these cruise lines. I've been on 2 of them now. Yeah. Every time has been just like a master class on customer service. It's absolutely incredible. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you guys this. Disney announced, or it was on X or one of these social platforms, it's hard to keep up nowadays, that the head of Imagineering from the international parks on the Disney side would be coming over to the domestic parts, especially the Disneyland handle Disneyland Forward projects. Now, if Josh tomorrow, like you guys are saying, 1 or 2 ways, if he knows he has the CEO spot in the bag, could we see this Imagineer take over Josh's spot?
What do you think, George?
I don't know. I'm going to try to choose my words wisely.
Sure.
It's not that I don't think that an Imagineer would be intelligent to withhold a title like that. They're very smart. They know what they're doing. But I feel like with Imagineering, there's so many different arms that you have a person who is good with writing, and you have a person who's good with pyrotechnics. You have a person who's good on engineering. I get it. You have someone that's ahead of all that, but I still feel like in some way you still have to know a business standpoint. I agree. Can't foresee even someone as a head lead of Imagineering that still would be a good role for that.
That's why when people used to tell me all the time, like, oh, we should get Lasseter and have him be the CEO back in the day, right? Before he got fired. Sure. No, he's a creative. He would not be a good CEO. The CEO is a lot of businessy kind of stuff. Disney doesn't need a creative CEO. They don't need someone who can tell a good story. Yeah. All Disney needs is a CEO with business chops who respects creatives, who will allow creatives who basically a CEO who respects creatives, creates an environment for them that fosters more creativity. Yes. Right. And creates balance too, though. You can't let the creatives just run amok and have $400 million budgets for an animated movie. You have to have a little bit of pushback on this stuff. You can't, but you don't need a creative as the head of Disney, right? Yeah. And you don't really necessarily want that, And so I feel like with an Imagineer, that's a creative position. Even the person running Imagineering is still a creative, in my opinion. Yeah. So yeah, I would agree with George. I don't think an Imagineer is somebody that you'd want running Disney experiences, because I think you need to have more of a business mind to run that whole division and all that. I wouldn't. Again, the Imagineers are brilliant, but in that particular role, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it would work.
Sorry guys. I just want to say it's kind of like you go, because I do have a question for George, but it's kind of like, again, you take Kathleen Kennedy, right?
Yep. Sure.
Put her as president in Lucasfilm. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It doesn't. She was good as a producer and whatnot in Hollywood. Yeah. But her as the president and leadership in Lucasfilm for the entire that business aspect, not very good. I'm sorry. There's been a lot of poor. I mean, there's been some good stuff that's come out of Lucasfilm with Disney with under her leadership, but a lot of it has not been well received, and there's been a lot of choppy decision making.
Well,
so I think that there is an example of if you take someone either who's a creative or who has expertise in a particular area and like, oh, they're so good at that, let's put them here. That doesn't always work.
Well, that's true. And to kind of tie into that comment for a minute that you made, again, shout out to both you, Orange Grove and George for the live stream last night. If I'm not mistaken, I did hear at one point, because you guys were talking about the Fox acquisition that Bob Iger purchased, you know, and you guys were talking about how we're not really seeing, you know, the Fox studios come out with movies because now Fox is owned by Disney.
Right. Their output has greatly decreased since Disney bought them. Yeah.
Exactly. So it makes me wonder, even though when Disney bought Lucasfilms and they still created Star Wars movies and whatnot, but I kind of feel in the last maybe 10 to 15 years of Star Wars movies, it's kind of really been lackluster. I could be wrong. There were some that were great. I thought, you know, bringing the Obi-Wan series is absolutely my favorite, but there was a lot of turmoil with a lot of stuff they came out with. So I get it. I get that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, Lucasfilm is weird because you're right. The behind the scene the behind the scenes stuff has been an absolute shit show with Lucasfilm. They have gone through directors. They've gone through more directors than they made movies. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's a mess. Okay. Now look, I agree with you. The Kathleen Kennedy era has had a lot of good stuff too. I really like Mandalorian. I think that was a huge hit. Obviously.
Sure.
You know, the sequel trilogy was a mixed bag for me. I like the characters a lot, but I do feel like there were some missed opportunities there, a lot of missed potential with what they could have done with that.
Sure.
You know, I hear Skeleton Crew was really good, even though no one watched it.
Yeah.
See, nobody watched that show, but I heard it was really good. Rogue One was fantastic, dude. That Vader hallway scene, dude, that was dope. Yeah, Star Wars Visions, actually, speaking of anime, is a really, really cool series on Disney Plus. I think they have like 2 or 3 seasons now. But season 1 was like the GOAT. Amazing. All these Japanese anime studios did these like little Star Wars shorts, and they're beautiful and they're very cool storytelling. So, like I said, Lucasfilm has like a mixed bag of like good and not so good. I mean, Acolyte was a disaster for them, I think, you know. Solo was like the biggest flop they've ever had. Mixed bag. But Kennedy has been, I think she's been really demoralizing for the fandom.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a point with Star Wars where they get on stage or they'll make these press releases about so-and-so is making a Star Wars movie, and everyone kind of blows it off. It's no big deal. No one believes it because in 6 months it'll fall through and they'll cancel it, right? So even their cool announcements are blown off because no one believes they're actually going to happen. They need to get rid of her. They need to get rid of her and replace her with somebody else. I would put Jon Favreau in there. I think he's the guy. He has the Hollywood chops. He's been in the business for a long time. He understands creativity, all that stuff. So I think Jon Favreau is the guy to put in there. I don't know why they keep her around. She's been there for a very long time. Let's move on from her era. But I want to remind fans one thing, though. Kathleen Kennedy was not Bob Iger's decision. No. Kathleen Kennedy was put there by George Lucas.
And OG, what's funny about that is I hear people say, sell it back to George Lucas. Fandom, do you not remember? You hated the prequel era.
Yes. Sell it back to Lucas. Yeah, you hated the prequel era. You thought the prequels were shit. And you think you're going to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, selling it back to the dude who put her in that position?
Hell no. Exactly. No. God, no.
Come on. No. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. No.
Now, with Jon Favreau taking over, if that's what he wants to do and if that's what they do, I really hope that it does take over Lucasfilms, we do see another season of Obi-Wan. Because I have to tell you, to sit there and watch Hayden Christensen come back as Darth Vader, and to see him in the costume, see Obi-Wan come back in the costume.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was a child all over again.
Oh,
It was
dude, Hayden Christensen, big shout out to him because he got so much shit during the prequels, and I'm so glad that the fandom at large has come back around to like celebrate this man, because I think Hayden's an awesome dude. I loved him as Anakin Skywalker.
oh God.
I love him. He's like, that's like one of my favorite characters in Star Wars because of how
and a lot of times people were saying his acting performance as Anakin was underwhelming. But here's the thing. I think he harnessed that character perfectly, because you don't want someone who's very charismatic and very bubbly. You want someone that kind of has this very sardonic kind of tone to them.
Well, and here's the thing: it wasn't Hayden's fault. You had Natalie Portman, which is a very seasoned actress, and her lines came out cringy as hell and awkward. It was George Lucas's direction. He is a brilliant visionary, but he has a very hard time with dialogue and things like that.
But
so even Natalie Portman
let's be honest, every time that Natalie Portman was on the screen, who was really paying attention to what she was saying?
Well, that's true. That's fair. Well, what's up, Mr. Rubba?
And here's the thing: if you want to get into the lore wise, like father, like son, they're both effing whiny. Okay,
Yeah.
like like crying little babies.
Exactly.
I am older than the deep.
But in all seriousness, sorry, but really quick, in all seriousness, OG, I do agree with you. George Lucas is a perfective visionary, like his story, his writing, and all that. When it comes to executing that as a director, now with Star Wars, I will say, because I absolutely loved American Graffiti. I think actually that was one of his greatest movies he's ever done. But when it comes to Star Wars, like outside of the originals, like moving into the prequels, like he just kind of missed. He had a vision, but he just missed that mark completely.
Who's that?
Really quick, Ebba, did you have a question for me?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So going back to the executive switch up here, the gentleman that's from the cruise line coming over to Disneyland, okay, which is for us park fans, that is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
However, George, do you now have a concern of who's going to be replacing his spot for overseeing cruise line ABD Disney Vacation Club? Do you see a potential someone could come in and lower the standards of their quality?
That's a good question. From what I understand, I could be wrong. Do not quote me. I have to actually do some research on that. I don't know if he's ahead of it right now. I think he was someone who worked in that department. I don't know if someone already moved into that role. I could be wrong. Do not quote me. However, if that is the case, that is something they have to be careful with, because yes, if you're going to abandon the Disney Cruise Line and Adventures by Disney and Alani and everything to move all that into the parks, then they have to get someone on that caliber. I think they would still find somebody that would really heighten it up, because with the cruise line, because they're expanding it completely, they're not gonna build 13 cruise ships by 2031 and then just have it kind of fall off the wayside. Well,
they'll find somebody. I think Dragon Blood in his comment right there shows you exactly who they should put in that position, bro.
There we go.
He says it right there. So, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready. We could start Monday.
Toot that horn.
Absolutely.
So to kind of tying back a little bit and backtracking about D23, again, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Lucas Kim for giving you and George the opportunity to be at D23. I'm sure that was just an absolute blast.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with Josh Samaro, or as you guys like to call him on Orange Grove 55, Daddy Josh.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact when he goes up on stage, and I don't know if it's him saying it or it's Bob Iger, the puppet master behind the scenes, telling him to say this. Basically, dirt's moving when there is no dirt moving, and there hasn't been moving at all. So I have a problem with that because, you know, with everything that's going on with the theme parks, and it's not just Walt Disney World and Disneyland and all the Disney parks, it's Universal too. When these corporate types come out, whether it's on social media or like at a D23 and says, okay, we're building this, dirt's moving, you know, we expect what they're saying is the truth, you know, and I have a problem when he's saying that type of stuff and there's no evidence to back that up. Now, if he said dirt's gonna be moving, you know, we'll keep you guys informed, I can respect that. But when he's saying no, dirt's already moving, it's, you know, right after watching that live stream, someone had it streaming on YouTube. The next day, I remember social media blowing up and saying, where the hell is dirt moving at? Where? You know, that's the problem. If you're gonna,
I do see your point, and I do agree with you, because we all want answers to the questions that we've been having since literally the beginning of the end of D23. And now I think when he uses the term like dirt is moving, I think us as the nerdy fans that we are literally taking him as, oh, they're shoveling the dirt to put in the projects, where I think what he was going by was like a play on words. Like, for instance, with the Tropical Americas, before they started actually closing off parts of Dinoland, they had to maneuver basically a campsite for the construction workers and put in all the
work offices.
Yeah, the work offices, the RV things. They had to block off a road in order for them to get into the park through the back way to then close off Dinoland. So I think when we hear the term like dirt is moving and I think we're taking it literal because that's just how we are as fans. But I think what he was saying was progress has already been moving without you guys even knowing. But the reason why it puts a bad taste in our mouths as fans with tomorrow is because when he got up on the stage of D23 2022, and I get the route that he was going, you know, he was kind of backed into a corner to try to do this blue sky thing. But that should have been addressed to us to say, this is going to be a different take of the parks panel this time. We're doing to kind of get an idea of what you guys want as fans. Let us know what you think of these ideas. When he kind of played it down and said, you know, well, this is stuff that we could do, but we're always in active mode and everything, which is true. But a lot of people don't really, we care about that, but a lot of the normies don't. So I think moving down the road, when tomorrow says something, it's always going to put like a bitter taste in our mouth because we really don't know what he is saying verbatim, you know, because his track record. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, back in 2022, again, I think Bob Iger had a lot to do with, Bob Iger and Chapek, but more Bob Iger, because again, you know, when Chapek was CEO, Bob Iger was in the back, probably sipping a Mai Tai or something, you know, being the puppet master behind the scenes. So I don't blame Tomorrow. I don't blame Chapek as much as I did when all that bad criticism was going on social back in the day. I don't blame him entirely for that. I just have a problem when and again, I hold Universal to this standard too. If they came out tomorrow and said, we're going to build Donkey Kong at Hollywood, we're moving dirt, and here it is a year and a half later, and barely they're getting trailers on the site.
That's why again, and we mentioned this many times on Orange Grove 55, in my personal opinion, I would rather Disney not say anything at all.
Yeah, same.
I would rather than just put up the walls
Yeah,
and
exactly.
give us that impression of, oh, they're doing something. What is it? And then after so long, release and say, hey, we're giving you guys this. Oh, cool. At least we know it's already halfway of being done.
So it's funny you mention that. Universal Hollywood, great example of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the difference though, and I agree with you guys. We talked about this actually again on the channel with the concept art and all that stuff and the announcements. But here's the problem that the dilemma that Disney's in. Universal doesn't have Comcast Con.
Right.
Exactly.
They don't have an expo. Disney has an expo. So Disney has every 2 years an expectation to announce stuff. So they set themselves up. They paint themselves into a corner where they have to announce something. And then what happens is they announce something and they show concept art for something that is still going to go through the process of development. And within that process of development, things change along the way. And then fans are like, well, wait a minute. That's not the same thing we saw like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, or in Tron's case, 8 years ago, whatever. You know, things change along the way. So that's where Disney gets in trouble. And it really is 22 in a lot of ways for them, you know?
Well, see, and what I don't get is why every 2 years? Like, personally, if they, keep the D23 theme, I would be fine, honestly, with like every 4 to 5 years, because here's the thing, these projects take a long time in the pipeline, dude.
Right.
And with every 2 years, like I said, stuff could change, budget could be cut, and you concept art. Oh, well, here's one concept art. Okay, now here's another one. Look how long it's taking us to get freaking the Avengers e-ticket right, dude.
Yeah.
I agree with you, bro.
Crazy.
I really do. But just speaking through the optics from Disney's point of view,
Yeah.
the reason
Right.
I wouldn't do that is because D23 is a cash cow.
Oh,
Like, everyone from all over the world who is a Disney fan ends up in the Anaheim Convention Center. They buy the tickets, they buy the merch. I mean, I could imagine. I would love to know. I would love to speak to Disney's accountant, and I would love to know what revenue that D23 in a matter of 3 days, one weekend, of how much money that event brings in.
Right. See, or George, or George, here's the thing, dude. Maybe not even have a timeline. Maybe only have the the expo or convention when they feel they have enough banger projects to announce. That's like official greenlit. They have the budget for it. They're gonna do it, right? Because like in this last one, Josh said, "Hey."
Or what they could do too is, because this past D23 they kind of separated the big panels with the Honda Center to the Anaheim Convention Center. If they would do the Honda Center, not the Honda Center, excuse me, the Anaheim Convention Center every other year, just have that Disney convention where it's like you have the archives, you have the showroom floor, you have the smaller panels, fine. But then for the Honda Center events, they can maybe do that separately.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that again because of money. But I mean, I can see your point because it would help Disney in the long run.
Yeah.
For themselves, but would they be willing to sacrifice the almighty dollar? I don't think they'd do that.
Dragon Blood here says, do the parks panel, not every single D23.
Yeah, I agree with Dragon Blood. What I also agree with is, if they're going to have D23, you offset it. So every 2 years or kind of do what the Olympics do, So if you're going to have D23, okay, great. Then if you're going to do Destination D23, you wait another 2 years after to do that. And you kind of switch back and forth. Or instead of doing, if you do D23, don't announce everything at D23. Kind of split the baby in half, as I like to call it. Do half the announcements at D23 on the West Coast, or just announce the West Coast projects. And then for Destination D23, you can announce the Florida projects. You can announce the international projects. But just make D23, or make D23 just domestic, the domestic park news, and leave Destination D23 for the international stuff.
Well, Conductor, here's the other thing too, is, and I brought this up before, Disney also still announces stuff online. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So they do their
Toontown.
Yes.
Yeah. For example, they announced Toontown online, and then they go have D23, and there's like no mention of it. And I'm like, what was that? Like here's the thing, Toontown came out fantastic, but it's like, why wasn't that like held and waited for the expo or the convention? I don't understand that. That was weird. I was like, what?
They make a lot of weird announcements.
But it was a great conversation with all three of you. Had a blast. We went 3 hours and 4 minutes.
There we go.
We could push to 5 hours as far as I'm concerned, but I know everyone's tired. I'm tired. But shout out to George the Italiano, Orange Grove 55, Mr. Webba, the neighborhood Spider-Man. You guys are awesome. I love having you on the channel. I love being on Orange Grove 55 when there's available time slots for it. I definitely will have you guys back on again. I know you guys are very busy. I can't wait to see George's new channel. I can't wait to see Mr. Webba's rants on everything.
Oh, yeah.
Ready for that. I'm going to crack a beer.
Crack a beer.
Let's start with you, sir. Where can everyone find you on social media?
You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Bluesky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And yes, in the next coming weeks, definitely keep an eye out for Citrus Central, the sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
Can't wait. Go. Orange Grove 55, always great having you on, brother. Where can everyone on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find us on Orange Grove 55 on YouTube, making content about theme parks. We do studio stuff, movie stuff. We even do a lot of fun stuff like in the members category or whatever. For members, we talk a lot about like relationships or like just everything, dude. Like even our sex lives, it's crazy. But that's for members only. But yeah, we get into a lot of crazy stuff over there on the channel, but mostly it's mostly theme parks and studio. So we talk a lot about corporate stuff with Disney. We break down the quarterly earnings call. So yeah, we are very, very busy guys and gals over there at OG55. And you can find me on Instagram, Orange Grove 55. You can find me on X, Orange Grove 55, and you can find me on Blue Sky, Orange Grove 55. Mr. Webba, where can they find you, sir?
Absolutely. ThemeParkConductor, thank you so much for having me and the OG 55 crew on. It was a pleasure, such a blast. Always appreciated. You can find me on Twitter, Mr. Webba at Webslinger760. You can find me on Threads and Instagram at Cobweb91. You can also find me here with these gentlemen on OG55. And we just debuted our first public web shots video, and then coming soon, stay tuned for 2 episodes or webisodes of WebVision on OG55.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Kaylee. The webisode thing was chef's kiss.
Kaylee with 2 E's.
With 2 E's with the webisode. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. When you introduce your show, you got to say, welcome to the next webisode. Oh, dude, we should do. Oh man, if they had like AI Dr. Dre voice, like like that, like the Chronic 2001. Welcome to the next webisode. Gotta do it. Yeah, but Conductor, we all thank you for having us on. It was a really good time tonight. It's past my bedtime, but
absolutely,
I'm doing good though. I'm doing good.
Okay, I'll me on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at ThemeParkConductor. You can find me on X at ThemeConductor. You can find me every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Thursday, where we talk about Universal, Disney, theme parks, and it's open forum, guys. It's open forum. So whatever you guys want to talk about, whether I have a guest or I'm solo, I always respect the chat. If they want to bring something up, I'm always there. And OG, I saw your post on social media today that you guys are asking for member-only topics.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring one up since it did come up in tonight's live stream.
Yes.
George's idea about what the revenue is for D23 for 3 days. I'm curious if Mr. Seymour Duck can figure that out, and you guys do a video on that. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And Conductor, here's the thing too, because you make content. Obviously, we're here, you know, and when you post your member topic,
yeah,
and we do a video on your member topic, join us. Like, you know, like we literally today recorded right before this. We recorded another member family on the channel, Alia. We love Alia. You know. Yeah, she's been part of the channel for many, many years, but she posted a member topic for us and we recorded her topic today and she joined us. Same thing with Matthew Murr. He's been family over here at the channel for a long time. So when he posted his, he joined us on his video. So of course, when we do your topic, yeah, you'll be there, Conductor.
I'm very curious because that will be a great conversation. And Robert Spike, believe me, if I could fly to Toronto and do a live show there, I would do it. Believe me, because I would really like to try your maple syrup over there, but that's besides the point.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, we have Mr. Seymour Duck lives over there in Canada.
Ooh.
Yeah, and our OG55 outro queen, she lives over there in Canada. We got a couple Canadians over there on the channel. You know what I'm saying?
Coincidence? I think not, OG.
You know what I'm saying? We're becoming very Canadian, you know?
Well, everybody have a great night. Be safe, be kind to one another, and I will see you guys next week on Conductor Thursday Livestream.